How many times can I get away with having the Nintendo Switch 2 on the thumbnail on Saturday? I think it's 3 weeks in a row right now, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, where do we go today? What about Pokemon music? Music for study, chill work, relax. It's probably okay, right? This is kinda low. It's hard to tell because I have my fan running. What about this? Is this good? Ah, this isn't a bit too loud. I think that's probably correct. Oh man. Oh man. But not only how many times I can get away with on thumbnails, which is not a big deal, but how many times am I going to bite my right cheek while I'm eating? I think it's 3 times this week. It's not good. God, it hurts so much. Why am I like this? I'm not gonna make it, guys. It's gonna be the end of me, okay? Also, I do believe that right now, Discord is working properly. And it has the streamer mode enabled properly, as it should be. Finally, it gets from above. Oh man, is this what I had to do? Do I have to pray every single time? Yes, I could make some sort of reference to Warhammer 40k, but I don't know too much about it, I'm sorry. Okay, I think I have a bunch of stuff for today, so we might go longer than usual. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We're gonna start... I don't know. Everything is stupid, I suppose. So, we're gonna start with something a little bit stupid. But that's pertaining to... vtuber stuff. It should be fun, right? So let me bring this up here. So apparently, they have this vtuber centric convention in California, of all places. Of course, it's California, called Off-Kai Generation 4, because this is the 4th iteration, right? So they said something like this here. Attention, meet and greet attendees. For Off-Kai Gen 4, we're requiring a verification check of a government-issued ID during queue. Please make sure you bring one before waiting to meet your Oshi, or you won't be able to attend the meet and greet. People are laughing at this so much, right? Because this is California. And these are the same guys that tell you, well, why would you need an ID to vote in the elections? But you need an ID to meet and greet your Oshi. It's really funny, and sure, I can understand safety concerns or whatnot, but I'm also worrying about safety concerns of a different kind. Maybe that's me being extremely jaded and you can blame me for that. But I do remember, not that long ago, back in my day, less than 5 years ago, because I'm talking about the T-virus here, you had... And it was not by their own hand, sure, but you had waiters and whatnot having to check not only IDs, but vaccination papers to make sure you were actually vaccinated of the T-virus. They're not prepared for that. But not only that, I don't want to know the kind of things they could do with that sort of information. So, what would happen here? Well, probably nothing, right? But at the same time, why do these people must have sensible information from my ID? Like, I'm assuming it's also the case in the USA. Not only your full legal name, obviously, but your current address. That's quite dangerous when some people that are going to these events physically are also VTubers, right? And not only that, but what if, perhaps, who knows really, Because it's California after all, right? I don't really know. But what if these people checking this have some sort of vendetta against you or your kind because you there spout incorrect opinions on the internet, incorrect by their own standards. I think that's quite dangerous. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. And sure, I understand safety concerns and all that. What about safety on the other side? We can have both. Well, we can be worried about both. We cannot have both. Obviously not. Such a thing is not allowed. I don't understand why. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, isn't it? And I've seen people on the replies. I don't want to scroll, just in case. It is Twitter after all. I haven't checked beforehand. But calling them racist, for obvious reasons. Well, if you cannot ask, dare I say, for an ID during the elections because my racism. Why is this different? I think I've seen also some people mention that this might be like a targeted attack to some communities because, of course, certain communities that maybe they don't like might have higher demographic of people from outside the USA. Pipkin Pipa being an obvious example here. And then you also have the other possible reading of this situation, which, make no mistake about it, it's not happening. There's no way. This is California, okay? But people will mention, maybe, but only maybe, what they're trying to do here is try to get illegal immigrants so they can get them out. They really think California people would do such a thing? California people making these conventions and whatnot? Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. It'd be funny though, I would believe that from, I don't know, perhaps Texas. I guess not Austin, maybe not Dallas either. But I would believe that from Texas. Just hilarious. Oh man, what did you expect about California, huh? But this is not the only spicy thing I'm seeing from this convention. I think they also had some really strange stuff with a maid cafe. This was months ago, I think. That, once again, you had to show proof of full T-virus vaccination in the year of the Lord, current year, which is extremely funny. And you also have to provide your own maid outfit, so you can work for free. And I had to wonder, well, check us out for California, right? Maybe they can achieve, finally, their coming utopia. But who, in their right mind, would do something like that? You had to show proof of vaccination. You had to bring your own maid outfit. And then you had to work for free in what's probably one of the worst businesses there is. Waiting. It's not good. Sure, you may be like, but I don't know, it's just silly funny, haha, it's just clout. There are better ways. There are better ways to do that, man, come on. Also, not quite sure, but I think I remember reading something about, yeah, you will be working 8-hour shifts here. No questions asked. For free? Look, I understand them not paying you, but they have to give you something, right? Maybe some sort of merchandise, maybe some sort of special pass? Working for free? What are you, stupid? Well, this is California after all, so it wouldn't be surprising. But there's also another part here, and I know I've criticized corporations many times before, and sure, once again, I had to say this, right? I understand the need for corporations, because if you have really high pride, I guess, ambition could be another word for this, but if you want to be like the idol tuber, yeah, being alone might be really rough if you want to go with organizing concerts, grand scale merchandising and all that. It's gonna be difficult, even with covers, even with just music production. It's a lot of work. Just being a single little guy, it's gonna be difficult. But some of these corporations are extremely predatory, and it really shows, right? We had this from ZamVT. I think this guy is like a known vtuber consultant kind of guy. I'm not quite sure. I know I've seen this guy before. I don't know if this guy is good, but this thing here is just absolutely hilarious. They have this screenshot. This is who knows from when, right? A minute ago, probably not. From Zoe Money. It's once again time for me to tap my sign. If you're planning on joining a startup VTuber agency, read the contract with a lawyer. If it sounds too good to be true, it almost always is. If they offer 100 revenue split, ask yourself how they intend to pay their staff indefinitely. Yeah, that seems like a big red flag. Is this China? I don't think it is. But I keep seeing red flags. And then we have this. From Real Mana at Off Guy, well, soon at Off Guy. Finally ready to reveal my new project. This will be like nothing ever done before, are we sure? Keep your IP, keep 100% of your revenue. Support on YouTube, TikTokers, and Twitch. Partnerships. Money, money, money for PC upgrades and microphones and more. So who wants to join? How are you making money? Nah, really, how are you making money like this? That doesn't make any sense. And this is going to lure a lot of... I don't want to say a lot, maybe it's not a lot, right? But a sizable amount of people, whatever that means, into this, because... Whoa, it looks so good. You keep your IP, things go south, 100% of your revenue, and you still get support? What's the downside? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What's the downside? Don't you think that's a little bit strange? How's this in business? How are they making money? I don't think that's gonna work. That's a huge red flag. So you should be careful. And I guess, since you have probably half of the... Yeah, I don't want to say community, so I'm gonna say demographic, but half of the business, perhaps, the tuber business, being on the younger side, maybe doesn't understand that this is extremely dangerous. There's something extremely fishy going on here, for obvious reasons. So be careful, okay? Be careful. Just don't try to join willy-nilly. Even if it's a well-established company and whatnot, you might think twice about doing so. Have you seen Niji Sanji? Any color, but they choose black. I don't understand it. And we have another reply by this sign guy. I'm with Zoe, by the way. Where's that money coming from? That doesn't sound financially viable. A business exists to make profit, and a company can never be anything else at its core. Obviously not. So, obviously, corporations will take a cut of what you get through donations, super chats, even ad revenue from YouTube and whatnot. Also, they will get the, maybe not the highest, but also a really relevant cut from merchandising sales and all that. Because you need to at least maintain the company. But if you want the company to grow, you also need to invest, right? New talent, new managers, more sponsorships, more merch. That has cost behind. So they need that money. It's not there, so extremely greedy. Some of them are looking at you again, Niji Sanji. If you keep saying that, you'll never join Niji Sanji. Do you think you want to join a black company? Absolutely not. It's not funny. Not even for the joke. So this doesn't make any sense. The only thing that comes to mind with having these succulent deals and this still working with something like Kick. Kick doesn't get money from streamers. They get money from gambling. And sure, you might disagree with that, but at this point in time, do I really care? What is worse, gambling or terrorism? I guess both are bad. But I think, in gambling, Might be the lesser of two evils. Never stop gambling. We love gambling here. We love gacha games. It's a joke, okay? Stop gambling at some point. It's really strange. Don't fall for this, guys. Come on, it's so obvious. So I cannot wait for Luminary Corp, I guess Luminary Legacy, Luminary Agency perhaps, to crash and boring in less than a year. Mark my words. Might not be less than a year, might be over a year, okay? It's not gonna reach 2 years. I don't think that's possible. Speaking of things, crashing and burning. God, what a disaster. YouTube shuts down, ad blocker loophole, tightens restrictions. More Firefox users have been impacted. People say this was just like 30 minutes. It's more than 30 minutes, let me tell you. I will know I'm suffering from this, okay? A hot potato. YouTube is once again cracking down on those who use ad blockers. The Google-owned company has been implementing measures to combat third-party extensions for years, and has just closed a loophole to allow the likes of Firefox to circumvent these protections. Not quite. They're obviously trying to, but the people working on AdBlock, they're unrelenting, thankfully. There's also a lot of trouble with Brave. I've seen longer loading periods. Yet the fight against ad blockers began with an experiment in May 2023, when they started warning users that ad blockers were not allowed on the site. Since then, the campaign has evolved to the point where YouTube prevents ad blocker users from playing videos. They tried. It's not working, because the people working at AdBlock, they're unrelenting, thankfully. Despite YouTube's efforts, there have been loopholes allowing apps such as Firefox and various extensions to continue bypassing ads without YouTube detecting the practice. Look, Twitch has been on this warpath for longer, and you can get ad blocking for Twitch still. So who do you think you are, YouTube? Do you really think you will stop people that don't want to see ads? That's probably one of the strongest driving forces in nature, at least in modern society. And fortunately for those who have been exploiting these workarounds, YouTube now appears to have closed them down. I don't think you can just close them down. It's the internet. It's a web browser. There's still stuff that's only client-side. You cannot block it without it being extremely illegal. So there you go. 95 Google reports that many users are once again seeing warnings stating that ad blockers are not allowed on YouTube, and they are violating YouTube's terms of service. According to the many Reddit posts discussing the latest change, not everyone is being affected, at least not yet. It appears those in Southeast Asia and Europe still managing to avoid YouTube's ads using the same ad blocking methods. It could be that YouTube is slowly rolling out the update globally. It cannot work with stuff like Brave in the long run, because Brave is the client. So they can always gag them. It might take some work, obviously. There are also scripts. I don't know too much about those, but I know there are scripts that can just destroy the ads. Ads destroyed. I might need to look into that at some point. Seems really interesting and also useful. This crack is just the latest one from YouTube. Expect a new way to avoid ads to appear in due course, at which point the company will find a way to stop it, continuing the unending game of whack-a-mole. And I guess we have a couple more paragraphs here. It was only March that YouTube introduced a new anti-ad blocker policy to push viewers back to watching ads. You cannot get me to watch ads! There's no way you can convince me! It affected those using Opera GX with the uBlock origin extension. But Opera GX is just trash, so why do I care? It's just a Chinese spyware. There are also some instances of Firefox users seeing the warnings at the time. YouTube offers users two options in the warning banners: disable the ad blocker or try YouTube Premium for an ad-free experience. The standard premium subscription is $14 per month. It was like 5 the other day. What do you mean 14? People like the internet because it was not cable. Now it's even worse than cable. What is this madness? There's also Premium Lite, which offers ad-free viewing for most videos. They're coming to Shorts for $8 per month. $8 for the Lite version. You're not even offering an actual product. You're taking away part of your product to sell it as a premium for a monthly fee of up to $14. That's crazy. That's insane. And people will fall for this. Just pay for a premium. Shut the fuck up. I'm not gonna pay for premium. Back in my day, we didn't have ads on YouTube. And also the algorithm was better. And the UI was probably even better. Okay? It worked properly. People will eat whatever fucking slop they're offered. Just pay for it, man. Just pay for it. Why the fuck would I pay for this? I'm not going to give up on my money because it doesn't make any sense. And you know exactly why they're doing this. I was not going to bring this up, but now I'm pissed and I'm gonna do it because I don't care anymore. It's gonna take a little bit. Hold up. I think it was... Who mentioned this? Maybe it was Mutahara, I'm not sure. I saw this just like yesterday. Well, I guess we can bring the article, I suppose. They will never stop trying to take your money. It's never enough for these people, they're so extremely greedy. And they don't offer you anything. So we had this article here, from the Exerto. From, I guess it was 2 days ago, late. Maybe that's why you saw this yesterday. YouTube rolls out more unskippable ads that make viewers wait even longer to watch videos. YouTube, I think you have some video on your ad platform. This is insane. This is disgusting. If you see the automatic monetization with ads on YouTube, it's atrocious. It's just constant ads. It's more ads than video in some cases. It's so bad. YouTube is testing a series of new and skippable ads that will appear far more often for viewers. Far more often, by the way. Even more often than this. I'm tired of ads. Is this food drama? Please, stop this. Google on YouTube has been upping its ad game for years now. Into some post-screening ads. God damn it. Trim down ad blockers and then be using AI to show ads when viewers are most engaged. Yeah, this is kind of a new thing, right? I bet you've seen... I guess we will have an example here. But you have a tracker with... when you have enough views in a video that shows you when people are clicking the most. And now YouTube is telling you to put ads there so more people watch the ads. No. I was about to say most, but most, not YouTubers, but decent YouTubers wouldn't do that. They wouldn't just put a billion ads in their videos, because that's gonna be a disaster for them. If it's 15 minutes, why do I have to watch 17 different ads? I'm not gonna watch the video. Now the video platforms once again finding another way to implement advertisements with beta testing. 30-second, non-skippable ads in regular campaigns. In other words, YouTube is giving advertisers yet another method to show you commercials. That's why I approve of ad blockers. You're never gonna make any money on YouTube. I don't care. If this is the only way of making money on YouTube, I'd rather not. Supported by Search Engine Land. 30-second ads used to be reserved through YouTube reservation deals, but now Google Ads allow more advertisers to include 30-second ads in regular campaigns. Just get an actual job, man. Just get an actual job. Ads? For what? Trash product saving? God damn it. Going to Swipe Insight. This ad format will allow advertisers to show video ads between 16 to 30 seconds, exclusively on TV screens, which include smart TVs and Chromecast devices. And people will ask, why do you hate smart TVs? You don't understand. You would hate them if you knew. Why do I must have? Why must I have internet connection on my TV? Why must I have special ads from YouTube on my fucking TV? It makes no sense. It's a TV. Why do you have Android installed? It's so ass. Additionally, the 30-second unskippable ads are being rolled out alongside 6-second bumper ads and 15-second unskippable ads. Oh, so many ads. But funniest part of all this is that a bunch of creators will see nothing from these ads, because if you are demonetized, YouTube will still put ads, but you won't see the money. And I do believe that's actually quite illegal, and they should probably be sued for that. What do you mean you're putting ads on my content and I don't see a single penny? That's not your content, even though it's on your site, it's my content. This test is already being well received, with Anthony Hickman, the CEO of AdSquire, claiming that users will probably watch 30-second ads, especially young people who don't know anything better than this. Oh, they're failing to create the modern audience. Are we sure? I don't think that's the case. I have to keep saying, for the past 10 to 15 years, things are getting worse and worse, and people will say, it's not that bad. Well, it's not that bad because it's just slightly worse than what you know. But what you know is already unbearable trash. I'm really passionate today, what can you say? The 15-second unskippable YouTube ad format is my all-time favorite. I bet it is, he said. This can be targeted to keywords and audiences, and the user must watch the ad to get to the content they want to watch. The user must watch the ad. I thought this was a democracy. I guess not. Search Engine Land also warns that viewers will need to get used to waiting longer to watch videos that they already do, or opt to bite the bullet and subscribe to Premium. This is not a product, and this is blackmail, and this is coercion. This is the institutification of literally everything, and people will clap for this. So bad. Hold up. So ass. However, if you watch a lot of shorts, you may want to avoid Premium Lite, as YouTube recently announced that ads will begin appearing on that content. Even for paying users, it's not even good content, it's just trash. It's mostly just slop, or AI, or even better, AI slop. Wow, it's so good. Where's the funny? Where's the fucking funny? Oh, you're too old, you don't understand. I don't understand, because it's not funny, it's not entertaining. It's not even true most of the time. And people will fall for this. I weep constantly for the younger generations because they don't know any better. That's so sad. Empires are falling. Billions must suffer. I'm the child, okay? You cannot blame me. That test said so. And said for those wanting to save money, the platform is working on a new Spotify-style subscription. They will give 2 people access to Premium for a little bit less than purchasing 2 individual plans. You know what? Fuck you. Brave is free, and I will keep using Brave. How brave can you be? Never enough. And yes, I've seen longer loadings on Brave, but you still don't see ads. There's still the memory leak can crash with Brave. You still don't see ads, so I think that's still a net positive. You might disagree with me, but I know I'm right. As usual. Fucking ads, fucking YouTube, fucking Google, man. It's so annoying. Because you cannot tell me they can justify this with saying, well, but YouTube is better now. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm fucking tired of YouTube, what can you say? Recommendations? Even the searching function doesn't work properly. It's so ass. I need to open up a new browser, incognito mode, just to try and get the proper search going. Oh, you might also want to watch this. No, I'm searching for something different. Shut the fuck up. Users like you also watch this. Does it have anything to do with my search query? No, then shut up and just search the things I'm looking for. How is this so difficult? To the point that even Google is way better at searching YouTube videos than YouTube itself. It makes no sense. And people will blame this on the H-1B visas. And you know what? I think it makes sense. We've read too much about Google for that to not be the case. Maybe, and only maybe, you're not racist enough. It's not about racism, it's about low quality workers. But if these low quality workers come from abroad, that's a problem. Speaking of immigration, strange segue, didn't expect that to happen. Do you like Japan? I do like Japan, I think it's pretty cool. Do you like Hashibata Megumi? She's really good, nice voice actress, fantastic singer. I need to give you a reason to like her, if you catch my drift. But maybe we can love her even more. Look at this, Anime VA, Hashibata Megumi, speaks out about rude foreigners. We have to crack down, and I'm pretty sure she was kind of forced to kowtow, perhaps, to apologize. I don't think she was wrong. I don't think she was probably going far enough. Who was it? Gakuto? That was actually fully harsh on immigration? I don't think he's wrong. It's your country. Why can't you be protective of it, right? God, I'm struggling so much today. But it makes sense. In a recent blog post, veteran voice actress Hashibata Megumi spoke out about the issues that Japan's citizens are facing in the wake of increasingly rude tourists. Perhaps we're not so different, you and I. Also, it's not only tourists, okay? But let's just call them tourists. Also giving her opinion about benefits offered to foreigners and immigrants. Oh! But you cannot criticize immigration, why not? Why not? Why do I have to give up my country to people from outside? It makes no sense. It's not even losing a war. That would make sense. Well, you were weak. Sucks to suck. That's nature's law, right? Rules of nature, like the song. The important question from Hashibata has been edited multiple times after both Japanese and international readers began to discuss and share it. Some readers have taken Hashibata's statements as reactionary and anti-immigrant. Okay, cool. Is she wrong? I don't think she is. Others believe she's explicitly referring to certain individuals who exploit Japan's culture and programs. She explicitly mentions there are foreigners who pay taxes. Yeah, but you have to understand, usually when people say anti-immigrant, you have immigration and immigration. Okay? Because you can have really fair and legal immigration with just a bunch of upsides, and you can have illegal and even sometimes legal immigration that only has downsides, or mostly downsides. But the food though, the food is so good. I've seen the food, I'm not impressed. Also, you can learn how to cook, it's not that difficult. Especially nowadays, the age of information. I guess the age of disinformation. You can just go on the internet and look up recipes, it's so easy. Oh, authentic tacos, authentic, I don't know, Ethiopian cuisine. I've seen the cuisine. Doesn't look really tasty, what can you say? Just give me some beef and fries, and I'm fine. Maybe a nice sauce to put on top. That's it. I'm not hungry, I promise. Not today, at least. You can read the portion of her statement below. If things continue like this, Japan's Japaneseness will disappear. Its manners, attitude, technology, food, and maybe even anime. Of course, there are many people living in Japan who really love Japan. Well, yeah, why would you move to Japan if you hate Japan? Well, why would you move to Europe if you hate Europe? Why would you move to the USA and then hate on the USA? Yes, I'm looking at you, Mexicans in the USA. Why would you do that? Oh, but Viva Mexico or whatever. And then there's a problem in Yoshitomo when they take you back to your country, even though you were illegally on USA soil. It makes no sense. It's not about immigration. It's just once again about pragmatism and law. It's just that easy. I have friends. Whoa, guys, she has friends. Some have become naturalized. Among them, there are some people who are privileged without manners, foreign tourists who don't know how to give in, and people who cut down bamboo in Kyoto. If you don't have regulations, if you don't make them, it will be dangerous. We were like Japanese crayfish being eaten by invasive species in an instant. See, I think this line is the problem that most people have, right? Wow, do you mean they're getting eaten? Well, yes. You're eating the culture and you're replacing it with something different. Is it so wrong for Japanese people to like Japanese culture and still have their Japanese culture in Japan? I think it only makes sense. But I guess nowadays they're called white adjacent, whatever that means. So it's not allowed. It doesn't make any sense. Ichiban is considered by some to be a legend of the anime industry, with rules? I think you mean roles, including Ainamire in Evangelion, Totomi Ranma in Ranma, obviously, Haibara Ai in Detective Conan. She was Faye Valentine, Cowboy Bebop. I don't remember that. I guess that makes sense. She's obviously Lina. And those are only some of her iconic roles. Over the past several years, Japan has experienced increasingly worse problems with tourists. Visitors have been emboldened by a weakened yen and nuisance streamers like Johnny Somali, which I think he's gonna be in jail for 30-something years in Korea, so good job, dumbass. Good job. You get what you fucking deserve. What can you say? Oh my goodness. It's just ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous. Because it's clear they're not respecting Japanese culture. Because you can go to Japan and respect Japanese culture. I don't think someone like me should go and live in Japan and force them to change the culture. I said this before, right? I'm a fucking rebel. So, such an older culture like the Japanese one would be bad compatibility. But if for some reason I ended up living in Japan, I would have to follow the culture, because who the fuck am I to change it? I'm nobody. But people nowadays, they have this bare minimum decency. It's really bad. The joys of multiculturalism. God fucking damn, it's so annoying. It's pure nonsense, man. It's just pure nonsense. But if you complain about it, then you're some sort of racist. You cannot win like this. And the only thing they're actually doing with this is making people more racist and being justified in being racist. Because if you're gonna call me racist because I want to protect my country and its culture, so be it. I don't think it's bad. You're only justifying the racist, which is ill-advised. Speaking of cultures, though, cultures? Sure, why not? There are also tumbling down and being corrupted. Strange segue. Let's get to GameStop for a second here. GameStop CEO says the company's future isn't in games. The company is going deeper into trading cards, and I think this is hilarious. Because we've seen this trend recently with these in-game stores trying to sell you more merchandise, especially trading cards. They're really big, especially in the USA. But I find these extremely hilarious because this is not happening where I live. They're not selling trading cards. I don't think so, at least. Pokemon TCG here, I don't think it's a thing. You can see them selling cards on, I guess there are decks, I'm not quite sure. Just in whatever places. You don't see scalping, you don't see anything. People here don't really care about trading cards anymore. Not even Magic the Gathering. So this is hilarious. Because yes, GameStop is gonna become just the Funko store, which is depressing. Because Funko Pops represent probably the worst trend in entertainment. Everything has to be sterilized, everything has to be the same, everything has to be scale of race, everything has to be Reddit. Yes, Funko Pop is the brutalism of merchandise. You cannot change my mind because I know I'm right. I've seen this way too many times. You cannot compare the ugliness, the greatness, the absolutely nothing there's a Funko Pop with the apex predator that's an android, okay? They're also really expensive. So I suppose some of these companies are just going to die or become something different. Imagine that. Imagine that. GameStop is leaning heavily into trading cards as part of its future strategy, according to CEO Ryan Cohen. The news comes as part of the larger strategy shift to buy and hold a lot of Bitcoin. I didn't expect that one. Cohen has said that it continuing to focus on trading cards, including the incredibly popular recent Pokemon card sets, it's a natural extension of GameStop's business. He added the collectibles could have potential for high profit margins. I wonder if I should actually scalp Pokemon cards and sell them on the internet for really high prices. Because why not? I can probably get them for normal prices here in decent quantity and just sell them more expensive on the internet. I don't think they're gonna be in English though, so that might be a bad strat. I'm only hassling here, okay? It's kind of a joke. I wouldn't do it. I think that's trash behavior. I think it's a game aimed at younger people, and younger people should be able to afford it and play it. Pokemon cards, well, as much as TCG allows. Pokemon cards have a gigantic resurgence recently. Stores regularly sell out of sets, including the Destined Rival set that launched on May 30th. Cards have become increasingly hard to find as scalpers buy up supply and sell Pokemon card products, including cards, special boxes, and accessories at exorbitant prices. I can just buy this and sell everything with just a profit of 10% of the original price and make huge bucks. I would need to sell them at base price plus 10% plus shipping costs, and that's it. Well, I don't know if the shipping costs would be on me or the people buy. I don't know how it works. I've never done something like that actually. And that's it. Big money. I'm just hustling out here, right? And I wouldn't even need to scalp because I bet they have more than enough supply for me to buy a bunch of sets and sell them. And then we have the local IRS coming here and destroy my ass because here it's shipping worse than in the USA. I can never win. It's so annoying. GameStop has been steadily expanding its Pokemon card services. As of last month, GameStop has created over 1 million cards with Professional Sports Authenticator. The store chain doesn't actually create the cards and serves that evaluates cards based on card quality and rarity, but offers a service where shoppers can drop their cards off at the store and paying extra fee to have GameStop handle the process for them. Okay. I know they're just copying people when I'm saying this, but you don't really need this. It's very obvious when something is mint or near mint, and when something has been used. So, yeah. I guess they could be lying with the screenshots and whatnot. Wouldn't be screenshots, would be like actual pictures. But that could also be the case with the authenticator anyway, so if they want to cheat, they will cheat. They're scalpers, come on now. No mystery why GameStop has increased its focus on trading cards. Its revenue in the first quarter of 2025 surged by over 50% on a year-over-year basis, largely due to Pokemon. It has been going on for several years at this point. And I don't think that's good, because there's just mercantilizing hobbies again. That's really annoying. The GameStop brand has been on a roller coaster over the past several years. Going from the brink of bankruptcy to being the subject of a movie. I'm entitled Damn Money. Wow, you cannot do that. I guess they can. But the company surging in stock price. The chain, while reporting its product profits, has really gone through some closures, layoffs, and has shuttered its tiny magazine, Game Informer. The magazine has since found a new owner. Well, it's games journalism, and we all know it's just a fucking joke, right? So it only makes sense, but god damn it, man. Fucking scalpers, just an absolute melody. They're just so annoying, what can you say? So I had to wonder what's gonna happen here. I don't think it's actually looking that great for GameStop. And not globally at least. Maybe in the USA with Pokemon cards, they might be able to stay afloat and maybe still get profits as we've seen here. Surge over 50% on a year-over-year basis. That's quite impressive. What do they have here? Let's get into games finally, shall we? Do you like games? I think games are pretty cool. Do you like JRPGs? I think JRPGs are actually pretty cool. Do you like censorship? I don't. And some people justify, it's just a little bit of censorship. Who cares? Just buy the product. Shut the fuck up. I won't. So we have here, rule default to be censored. Some outfits are considered inappropriate for Western audiences. And this is really funny, because this is a remaster of the 3DS version, which was already censored. So I don't know if they're stacking censorship on top of existing censorship, or if it's just the same censorship as we already have. It's really stupid nonetheless. Some outfits considered inappropriate for Western audiences are reported to be included in the JP version of Early Default Flame Fairy HD Remaster. Japanese release includes English, so if you want to buy the game properly, buy the Japanese version. If you don't, I cannot blame you. Here we have an example. Let me open this up. And this is the censored version. And this is not that spicy. This is not that spicy. It is incredible the screen is so lame and gay nowadays. But I suppose it is to be expected from them. Really sad. Really sad. Here's a part in the Japanese version instead of buying the English version then. Cannot blame them. This happened in the original release too. This was one of several JRPGs getting censored in the free modern audience era. Not wrong. People don't seem to remember. It has something to do with wokies. This time the game is dumbed old. I don't think it's necessarily, oh, the gender people and whatnot. Sometimes it is, right? But it is still a problem, and we don't have to make like an ideological argument about this, because the facts of what's happening is just bad. It's just wrong. Censorship is just bad, no matter what. If it's too spicy, why is it okay in Japan, but not in the West? It should be okay in the West. And once again, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Wow, it's so spicy. I've seen way worse in Dragon Ball. And that is true, I've seen way worse in Dragon Ball. And it's not a big deal. I'm not saying that we should censor Dragon Ball, okay? And once again, it's just this censorship crusade we've been seeing from especially Square Enix recently. Also kind of Sony and some of the guys with their games. Now they have to be censored. But why? I don't get it. Don't you want to sell game? I guess they don't. And even they mention here, it has nothing to do with wokies. Well, not with the modern audience, But this has been happening for a long time, and I do still believe it's ideological, and I do still believe this is bad and wrong. No matter the reason, this is bad. So don't reward them when they give you a half-baked product, because it's not good. Speaking of half-baked products, I guess. Oh, look at this. Do you guys remember them sweet babies? I do. Looks like an old friend of Kabuto Frambo and Smash AT has finally admitted what we all knew. Chris Kindred, formerly of Sweet Baby Inc., is now officially looking for work. And this is the fucking guy that wanted to cancel and destroy Kabuto Frambo back when he made the DI Detective Steam group. Oh, they're so racist. No, they're just echoing public information to be consumer friendly. Dare I say, customer friendly. That makes more sense. So, get fucked. Apparently, this guy has been out of the Sweet Baby Inc. for about 7 months? I'm not quite sure, I haven't looked into it. But that's the claim. You have Chris K. And situated after teaching game design at Pratt this past spring, I'm open for projects. If you have a game or interactive project that needs additional writing, extra game design know-how, or a unique sociocultural perspective, let's get in touch. Wow. I'd rather not. I'm thinking fine. Script writing, design consultation, sensitivity reading, dialogue writing. But I thought they were not writers, even though the people at Sweet Baby Inc. keep getting credited as actual writers. That's funny how it works, huh? It's really funny. Hilarious. Just hilarious. To clarify, Rated Robin 2 and I were, I think this, yeah, his wife, were the ones who broke the news about his firing 7 months ago. This confirms we were correct. That appears to be the case. So this guy's actually, like, really good with research. That's really nice, that's really interesting. But wait, there's more. Not about this guy, but more about, I don't know, the modding audience, I suppose. So we had this post. Black Girl Gamers, the SBI style consulting group, is perhaps the proofread, and you have a checkmark, you can get this. Soon to cancel Speed Games 2's CEO for wearing a Make FPS Great Again at the Summer Game Fest. They're cancelled pigs, and they're trying to use this to drum up their sensitivity business. And as in the Summer Game Fest, this guy appeared with the Make FPS Great Again, and said something like, we're gonna make this great, so fuck off, or fuck you, or something like that, right? Which makes sense. The guy was trying to be provocative, which makes sense. So, let's read this, right? I'm not here to apologize, but I'm here to clarify. Splitgate 2 boss says his Make FPS Great Again had this Trump parody. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be huge. Engage is wrestling with its exclusionary past and present, citation needed, because it doesn't make any sense. Having a faux pas, still not how you're supposed to say it. Like they should reminds us all. Is this a Bonix? Should remind us all. These guys are supposed to do consultancy and didn't understand how to write proper English. They have a worse English than me, and I'm fucking ESL. Get the hell out of here. They should remind us all there's still so much work to do. Oh, the work. It's fascinating that this was allowed to be on stage at Summer Game Fest, and it highlights the unseen areas for many of those who's in positions of leadership in this industry. Oh, how is this allowed? I don't like it! Well, fuck you. It's that easy. To utilize such a symbol at all. What symbol? A fucking hat? Let alone the current climate. Guy, he lost at the elections. Got banned. It's in poor taste and shines an unyielding light on why having diverse teams, including PR, is necessary. No, I don't understand. To stop racism, you had to be racist. What a strange thing to say. There were other ways to make the intended point without leaning on a political symbol that has contributed towards many of the divisions happening today. I don't think that is true. Donald Trump is actually more liberal than Obama. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't like the guy because he's running as a Republican. Our consulting services aren't just for game development and narrative design. Even a short consultation can help you ensure your output is reflective and mindful of the current climate and audiences. You don't know what the response to this should be. Shut the fuck up! I do what I want! Yes, I'm gonna be provocative, and you're gonna have to stop me. Sadly, that's not what happened. The biggest hack in gaming right now. Good luck with your modern how to offend the audience. Disgusting. So sad to see. So much for making games great again, huh?
Hey guys, it's Ian. You're probably tired of seeing my face by now, but I promise this message is going to be a little bit different than the previous ones.
A little bit low.
So
sorry.
I've got a lot of questions about what's up with the hat, why'd you wear it, what was the intent?
The intent was really obvious. It was to be provocative. Because this guy wanted to push the message of FPS games nowadays are trash, and we're gonna make them great. I don't think that's happening anymore, because you folded immediately. So much for making FPS great again.
And I want to start by explaining myself. It is really freaking hard as an independent studio.
Freaking hard. Is this Reddit?
To break through the noise. You go to these award shows. We saw it at TGA's. We had this great trailer, and there's 50 other great trailers, and didn't really have an impact. And so at our biggest stage, coming out of beta, we needed something to grab attention.
Yes, being provocative. I don't think that was a bad move. People remember the make FPS great again guy, but now people are going to antagonize you on both sides. Congratulations, you killed your game.
And the honest truth is, we tried to think of something, and this is what we came up with. We did not intend for this to be taken in any political way whatsoever.
It was not taken politically. It was used as a political weapon against you. Nobody expected somebody with such a hat to be, wow, this guy is just a MAGA Republican. No, this guy is throwing a jab, using a political slogan into entertainment. I don't think that's wrong. I've done it before, and I stand by it.
And I'm not an idiot.
I'm not an idiot. Well, if that was true, if that was to be true, we wouldn't be watching this video right now, would we?
Obviously, I knew there would be some level of controversy, but we really saw this as a meme that was kind of stating our truth, which is we do want to improve this genre. We are disappointed with the state of the genre.
The response for that, if they're accusing you of political brain rot, would be like a trash meme saying something like, relax, liberal, it's called humor, and move along. People would be felating your game right now if that was the case, but alas, you're too weak for that. Sad.
And so we took it as a meme that we thought would not be nearly as received the way it was.
It shouldn't, and I don't think it was. But why are you falling to black girl gamers, of all people? They're obviously race grifting here. Politically grifting. You don't have to listen to them if you don't want to. It's that easy.
Negatively received as the way it was. And so I want to apologize. And genuinely, you can pretend you don't have to believe me. But the truth is I am sorry.
And that's the problem. I'm sorry. So shut up. If you were actually sorry, you wouldn't have done that. But you did. Stand by it. It would have been better for you, but alas.
And the reason I'm sorry is because of what this has done to the community.
The community.
The most important thing to me right now is I want to have an amazing community. That is the reason that I built 1047. That's the reason I love my job, is because I wake up every day. I have friends in the community, Mikavelli, Tovar, all these great people who I play games with, who I get their feedback, I talk to them.
You want to build a great community. Sure, there's nothing wrong with that, actually. But the problem is, you're kowtowing to the wrong side. Because the people you're kowtowing to never build a proper community, never buy the games. They're just telling you what you should do. It's not profitable, as we've seen time and time again. So you're actually cheating on the community, you're making the community smaller and worse. Congratulations. You killed your own dream.
I mean, these are the people who got us through the dark times, and I hate seeing division. And that's what I'm seeing right now on both sides.
Yes. It's only gonna get worse thanks to this weak-ass response. Congratulations.
Division in the community, and for that I am truly sorry.
Also, as we'll see soon enough, we can also ask, what fucking community?
And again, I'll reiterate, I do stand by the intent of this, which is the intent truly is, take it at face value. We do want to improve this genre. We do feel that the genre is in a bad state, and we want to make FPS games as amazing as possible.
Should have been more ravenous with your slogan. Nothing wrong with that.
But I also understand that it's not just about intent, it's about impact. And the platform that we have had has had a negative impact.
I don't think it did. This has a negative impact. Your head didn't. If you're rustling the feathers of the usual grifters, that's probably gonna be a net positive, because people will give you a chance. If you're folding immediately, people will be like, okay, why do I care? So much for making FPS great again, when this guy's just folding immediately, just because of his stupid head.
For that, I'm truly sorry. Yeah, I mean, I wish things were different, and I appreciate all the feedback.
We all wish things were different, don't we?
That's all I got, guys, but I wanted to put this out there. And I hope you'll stick with us. I hope you'll keep the feedback coming. For now, we're just going to go back to listening and focusing on the game and nothing else. Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry. It's clear you wouldn't have to focus on anything else. Not to your victory, sadly. So, can we see how things are going? Well, they're going poorly. The first you make when you apologize to appease the modern audience, and your game drops to 5,000 players. After getting to the "whoa, had defended" crowd, since the Splitgate 2 has struck around and found out. Rail laughs in Korean, never bowed to Western press or modern sensibilities. Hits 170,000 plus a year later on PC. This is the way. Well, this is being nitpicky, obviously, right? Because, let me open this. It's just 5,000 players right now. Well, you're looking here at the low point. It's not fair. It was not even 10,000 players in the low point through release. So this is actually quite disingenuous. We can see in downward trend, but I don't know if this is because of the video, of if this is a natural lowering interest, which is actually kind of bad if that's the case, because you pretty much picked like release day or 2 days after. For a shooter game, that's bad. That's really bad. And we can say, because this is true, that there is a downward trend. Is it because of the video? I have no idea, that could be the case. But I can tell you, the video's not doing you any favors, that's for sure. I can clearly track that this game got a big boost. He first apologized, then he lost it when he caved. Maybe, I don't know about the proper date for this. There's no excuses, I'm sorry, I didn't have the date here. I guess that could be the case. But yeah, this video's not doing you any favors. So, rip in peace, baby. Rip in peace. You won't be missed. What else do we have with games? Oh, yeah. Speaking of disappointments, keeps happening. Nintendo Switch 2 sales had a record in 4 days. But why? Just for Mario Kart World? I don't think it's a bad game, but I wouldn't buy a Switch 2 and pay 80 bucks on top just to play Mario Kart. Ah, but the newer games! Cool, where are they? This feels like the PS5 right now. And this just released, so it makes sense, but only a single game? And I've seen people buying just a bunch of the older games. I'm like, okay, but why? I've also seen people claiming, oh, the Pokemon games, they're good now. No, they're not good now. They're less broken, but being visually more polished and not bugging out so much doesn't affect the bad design decisions they made. And I do think open world can work really well with Pokemon games. So do not call me a hater, okay? Then announced Wednesday that it sell more than 3.5 million Switch 2 consoles, marking a new record for the company. The Japanese company said that it's the highest global sales level for a Nintendo device within the first 4 days of release, and perhaps puts Nintendo in good shape to meet its goal of selling 50 million Switch 2 devices by the end of next March. Did you have games? Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're releasing to the Pokemon game, right? It probably happens. We're thankful for the response and happy to see the fun they are already having with Nintendo Switch 2, as they explore new features and games that bring friends and family together in new ways. Said down Bowser. I'm not gonna trust a guy called Bowser. Come on, guys. This is an obvious psyop. Nintendo of America President and Chief Operating Officer in a press release. Also, having Nintendo go a little bit in the evil side when this guy joined in instead of Reggie. Sad to see if true. Nintendo has rolled over the $540 device because it's Nintendo's first major console launch since the original Switch arrived about 8 years ago. The original Switch ended up selling 152 million units since its 2017 release. Nintendo released the Switch 2 on June 5th. With hardcore gamers, hardcore consumers, which is not the same, lining up for hours for the gaming console and Best Buy stores, extending hours to meet demand. Nintendo has made significant upgrades to Switch 2 hardware to justify the hefty price increase. Significant? Is it good enough? I have no idea. Might not be, actually. Including a larger screen, upgraded versions of the Joy-Con controllers, which is still drift, by the way. 8 years later, the legacy lingers on. And new social features, which are kind of trash. It also has several new features, including a game chat function that lets gamers communicate with other players by tapping a button on the console that you have to pay for. By the way. What a disaster, people will just buy anything. And I don't think this system is that great. It's just much better than everything else we have. So it doesn't say a lot positive about Nintendo. It says a lot of negative things about the other companies. Also, I've seen that apparently Xbox is gonna release like a portable game console, and I had to wonder, why the fuck would you do that? When you can just buy a Steam Deck. Once again, I don't understand. And I've seen people bitching about the Steam Deck argument, right? Well, I haven't seen an uptick in sales for the Steam Deck. Yes, people said they rather buy the Steam Deck instead of the Switch 2. Not that they are going to buy the Steam Deck instead of the Switch 2. I said I'd rather buy a Steam Deck than a Switch 2. But I didn't buy any of those because it's not useful to me. It's also a lot of money that I'm not willing to waste on this. Because, once again, it's not useful to me. But I still say the same thing. Yes, I'd rather buy a Steam Deck than a Switch 2. It's gonna be better in the long run, I bet. Especially with those battery lives. Whoa, Up to 2 hours, what is this? And battery life for ants? So extremely low, man. Not good. Speaking of not good, God, this is an atrocity. Man-sized studio has broken over buggy launch as PlayStation issues refunds. Builder Rocket Boy claims to discover the source of most of man-sized issues. Okay, what is this? What is this going on here? Did you even test the game? It's just insane, man. What the fuck is that? Man-sized studio Builder Rocket Boy says it's heartbroken over the bug experience many launch players have suffered, as PlayStation appears to be issuing refunds to some who are dissatisfied with the game. The Edinburgh-based studio has been experimenting to fix bugs this week, after the internet filled with videos of its single-player action game breaking and distorting in unexpected ways. Look, I understand having bugs. It's gonna happen, right? Because your QA division, I suppose, it's gonna be limited in both, let's just say, in work hours. Sure, they're gonna miss something. You can't tell me they tried to test the game. Not if you see something like this. It wouldn't be the first time, though. Boulder Rocket Boy and its publisher, IO Interactive, did not supply pre-release review code to the press for Mind's Eye. By the time of publishing, its Steam user reviews are around 60% negative, yeah, I can tell. Most of the criticism from players has been leveled at the game's performance, stability, and AI behavior. I guess these are common complaints recently. On Wednesday, there was evidence that multiple players have been refunded by PlayStation, which is actually rare. A rare occurrence that concerns members of Cyberpunk 2077's troubled launch, which was eventually pulled from sale entirely. They sold the game on PS4, it didn't work in PS4. On Thursday, Builder Rocket Boy published a new statement claiming that it had discovered the source of most players' issues. That fix would be deployed as soon as Friday. Are we sure? We'll see about that. It may be way too late. ER is completely destroyed at this point. We're heartbroken that not every player was able to experience the game as we intended it wrote. Our priority is optimizing performance and stability so that every player across every device can enjoy an equally high quality experience. Our teams have worked tirelessly throughout the night to solve many of these issues, and we have now identified that the vast majority of crashes were caused by a memory leak. This impacted roughly 1/10 of our players. I don't think you tested this properly. 1 in 10 is way too high for something that should have been tested. Studio says it's developed the hotfix that addresses this issue, alongside others, which is working to deploy as soon as tomorrow on PC, and on consoles once it passes certification with PlayStation and Xbox. We're fully committed to ensuring all our players have a great experience, and we'll continue to provide frequent and transparent updates. We'll do our best to respond to all your comments and feedback. It's too late. If PlayStation is issuing refunds, it's way too late. This is a disaster. You need to make the game incredibly good, which it can happen, but I don't think this is gonna be a Cyberpunk or a No Man's Sky. Sad to see, man. Just sad to see. Oh man, that's what happens when you have a bad launch of the game. It's not good. It's not good. But sometimes the bad launches are actually intended, which is really strange to me. I don't understand why anyone would do something like that, but what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet, right? So you have this, for example, right? Dragon Age of the Veilguard dialogue was reportedly rewritten to be more serious after BioWare worried it would face the same backlash as Forspoken for being too snarky. Forspoken certainly had an indirect influence on BioWare's latest RPG. I've seen clips. You're telling me this is the serious version? The series version was already Reddit incarnate. I can only imagine what the original was supposed to be. An absolute disaster, obviously, but wow, it's actually quite impressive. After taking 10 years to arrive, 10 years and then you get this. What a disappointment. Dragon Age developer didn't quite manage to live up to everyone's expectations. It didn't live to anybody's expectations of it being an actual Dragon Age game, so they failed at the beginning. Although the 2024 action RPG played well, I wish sure. I don't know, it seemed like a basic hack and slash bottom washer kind of deal. The writing tone felt off to many. Many? I would say most, coming across scattered and not as deep or compelling as Inquisition. A new report shines some light on what happened behind the scenes, and turns out that Square Enix's Forspoken may have caused some panic internally. They panicked, they tried to make the game better, and they still failed. I just want to see the original. I'm curious, man. Came to report from Bloomberg. Is this the other one you have? I think it is. I think it is. Are we gonna get spoiled a little bit? The investment reaction to the chatter in Forspoken contributed by Bioware higher-ups, initiating a top-down rewrite of the developers' dialogue. Due to time constraints and other problems. Time constraints, but then again, you took 10 years to make the game. I think you have bigger problems other than time. This would have exacerbating problems by creating total gaps between characters and plot lines. There's some devs and other internal teams and probably thought the quippy tone was overdone and annoying in early build of the game. And they're trying to suck you up because they're your people. And it was still extremely overdone and extremely annoying. I can only imagine. It had to be pure propaganda at that point. Anticipating the sentiment carrying into the general public, change was considered necessary. A real storm of terrible conditions ensued, Bloomberg adds, between mandated overtime, layoffs, and the Wayside strike. Like, the Wayside strike has nothing to do with the gameplay or the narrative, okay? That's a cope. Which limited how much recording time Bioware had. The atmosphere sounds sour, contributing to what we ultimately ended up getting. Forspoken did indeed take a hammering for its writing. The humor doesn't work, and although complex themes are presented, they're not explored with any real depth. It's a shame because, like with Dragon Age, there were characters who showed potential, but then they failed. A lot. Can be seen here, though, reacting when you're working in a distantly different series with an established team under an iconic studio, pages between the whole process and fray ends. You can only imagine how development could have turned out if things were different. But this feels like one situation where the problems were spread around rather than fixed. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. I think they actually tried to fix the game, but the game was way too bad, way too wrong, way too modern society, and it still failed. Because the problem was not the delivery. The problem was the message. The problem was in the root. The root is the problem, I'm trying to say here. But there's more. You can only go to the Bloomberg thing. This is from an archive because I'm not paying them, okay? From Notorious Clown, Jason Schreier, inside the Dragon Age debacle that got EA's Bioware studio. The latest game in Bioware's fantasy role-playing series went through 10 years of development turmoil. And you still failed. It's just hilarious. In early November, on the eve of the crucial holiday shopping season, staffers at the video game studio Bioware were feeling optimistic. After an excruciating development cycle, they had finally released their latest game, Dragon Age the Fail Guard. And the early reception was largely positive. What are you talking about? You're lying! Role-playing game was topping sales charts on Steam, and solid, if not spectacular reviews were rolling in. What a bunch of fucking lies. And you know it. Good reception? No. People were checking how bad the game was. And of course you were going to have solid, if not spectacular reviews. When you have when we know that you have been paying games journalists and reviewers to give you good reviews. So now, this here, sheer propaganda. You cannot get me, I was there, I know. But in the weeks that followed, the early buzz cooled as players delved deeper into the fantasy world. And some Bioware employees were anxious. For months, everyone in the subsidiary of the video game publisher Electronic Arts Inc. had been under intense pressure. Since previous two games, Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, had flopped. And there were rumors that if Dragon Age underperformed, Bioware might become another of EA's many casualties. I do remember Andromeda. It was a really ugly game. I do remember Anthem collapsing real fast, I think. A bunch of games with similar names, so maybe I'm actually wrong. So if you keep making games that are trash, that's on you. I'm not gonna feel any kind of pity. I'm sorry, but not sorry. Not long after Christmas, the bad news surfaced. EA announced in January that the new Dragon Age had only reached 1.5 million players, but I thought it was selling like hotcakes. I guess it wasn't. They also mentioned here 1.5 million players. How many sales? How many sales though? Yeah, that's what I thought. Missing the company's expectation by 50%. And that's just players. The highlight performance of another recently released title, EA Sports FC 2025, was also subpar. Compounding the problem, well, sports games are literally always the same. So why bother when money is tight, right? As a result of the struggling titles, EA Chief Executive Officer Andrew Wilson explained, the company will be significantly lowering sales forecast for the fiscal year ahead. EA share price probably plunged 18%, which is actually quite big. By the dip, I'm not sure about that. Dragon Age had a high quality launch and was well reviewed by critics and those who played. Hilarious. Fucking hilarious. High quality launch. Are we sure about that? I'm not binary. I had to pull out a barb. It's 10 push-ups. And then she only does 5. Trust me, I've counted. But this is so extremely funny. Was well reviewed by critics. The same fucking critics that you buy to give you good reviews. Look at that! I bought a bunch of people to give us good reviews, and lo and behold, we got good reviews. That's why people hate these types. Official reviews, games journalists, scum of the universe. They keep lying. Ah, but Gamergate! The Gamergate! Do you really think the good guys in Gamergate won? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Did you see any ethic in video games? In games journalism? It's not worth to be saying. Is this just nasty? It could be. Disgusting. So fucking disgusting. Can you fucking click for once? Come on now. This letter said in an earnings call. However, it does not resonate with a broad enough audience in this highly competitive market. It has nothing to do with highly competitive market. It has to do that you're chasing an audience that doesn't exist. It did not resonate with a broad enough audience because you're trying to appeal to a general audience, a modern audience that doesn't exist. Not with the numbers that you expect. And they can't exist, but they don't buy games, so why bother? Just make the most racist game. You will sell more, I bet. This after the self-revision, EA laid off a chunk of Bioware's staff at the studio's headquarters in Edmonton, Canada, and permanently transferred many of the remaining workers to other divisions. Per the story, the 40-year-old game maker It was a stunning fall that left many fans wondering how things had gone so haywire, and what might come next for this stricken studio. Well, it makes sense. Ideology plus low quality workers. Just understand. I currently in interviews with nearly 2,000 people who work on Dragon Age The Fail Guard. There were several reasons behind its failure, including marketing misfires. Yeah, I don't know about that one. We knew it was coming out for the wrong reasons. Poor word of mouth and a 10-year gap since the previous title. Yeah, people were expecting a decent game, but you didn't make a good game. Sad. Above all, such point to the rebooting of the product from a single-player game to multiplayer one, and then back again, it switched through the model development and inflated the title's budget, they say, ultimately setting the stage for EA's potential unrealistic sales expectations. A spokesperson for EA declined to comment. Happens all the time. So, you don't even know the kind of game you were trying to make, which is a big problem. Oh, it's so difficult to make a good game. Well, it's really difficult if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, which seems to be the case. You had more than enough time to realize what you should be doing, but you didn't. So I'm not gonna wait for you. Eat shit. GG, go next. Dealing between BioWare and EA started off with lofty aspirations in 2007. With lofty aspirations. In 2007, EA executives announced they were acquiring BioWare, another gaming studio, in a deal worth 860 million USD. The goal was to diversify their slate of games, which was saving sport titles like Madden and NFL, and lighten the kind of adventure and role-playing games that BioWare was known for. Buying that, big company buys good company completely destroyed and collapses. That happens a lot, doesn't it? Initially, it looked like a smart move thanks to a string of big hits. In 2014, BioWare released Dragon Age Inquisition, which was a little suspicious of a game, as far as I know. But I'm not an expert, so don't quote me. The third installment in popular action series. Yeah, action series, but not the same as The Fail Guard. Trapping players in a semi-open world full of magic, elves, and fire-spewing dragons. The fantasy title went on to win the much coveted Game of the Year award and sell 12 million copies. That's actually quite impressive. According to its executive producer Mark Dara, a major validation of EA's diversification strategy. Then came another type of diversity. 2014. It never ends! Before long, Darren Mike Laidlaw, the creative director, began kicking around ideas for the next Dragon Age installment, codenamed Jobling, aiming for a game that would be smaller in scope. But before much could get done, BioWare shifted the studio's focus to more pressing titles coming down the pike. In 2017, BioWare released Mass Effect Andromeda. Yeah, I remember that one. The fourth installment in a big-budget action series set in space. Unlike its critically successful predecessors, the game received mediocre reviews and was well mocked by fans because extremely ugly. And apparently the game wasn't even that fun. I think it had a bunch of bugs too. Imagine. A few months after the disappointing release, the head of BioWare stepped down and was replaced by Microsoft Inc.'s Cassie Hansen. Oh no. An alumni of BioWare's early formative years. I don't know about that one. You're just juggling people around. It might backfire, and I think it did. Like much of the industry, EA executives were growing intensely enamored of so-called live service games, such as Destiny and Overwatch. You can also mention a good game, but I guess live service and good game can go hand in hand. In which players continue to engage with and spend money on a title for months or even years after its initial release. The fucking melody of the hobby, I swear to god, everything has to be live service right now. No, I just want to buy the game and play the game. I don't want to spend money constantly for more content. I still haven't grasped with some DLCs. With EA aiming to make a splash in the fast-growing category, Bioware poured resources into Anthem, a live service shooter game that checked all the right boxes. Are we sure? If it flopped, I don't think it did. One day in October 2017, Laidlaw summoned his colleagues into a conference room and pulled out a few pricey bottles of whiskey. The next Dragon Age sequel, he told the room, was also be pivoting to an online live service game. If you did that, the players would eat you alive, and you know it. And that makes sense. A decision from above that he disagreed with. He was returning from the studio. The assembled staff stayed late through the night, drinking and reminiscing about the franchise they loved. Past dance, that checks out. I wish the people had never occurred, Dara would later recount on YouTube. He said, made this a live service. We said, we don't have to do that. We should basically start the period over. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Once again, the greediness of these companies. You have to do the thing, I don't know how to do it, just do the thing, it will sell. And then it doesn't. Because they failed to meet expectations on so many levels, it's difficult to recount. Former art director Matt Goldman replaced Laidlaw as creative director. With a tiny team began pushing ahead on a new multiplayer version of Dragon Age, codenamed Morrison, while everyone else helped to finish Anthem, which was struggling to coalesce. That's funny. Goldman pushed for a pulpy, more lighthearted tone than previous entries, featuring an online game, but was a drastic departure from the dark, dynamic stories that fans loved in the fantasy series. Oh, so it just was gonna be Fortnite Dragon Age. A huge mistake in my opinion. In February 2019, Bioware released Anthem. Reviews were scathing, calling the game tedious and convoluted. Fans were similarly displeased. On social media, players demanded to know why a studio renowned for beloved stories and characters had made an online shooter with a scattershot narrative. Just sell game, people will show up. They keep thinking like that, they will collapse. And I can only cheer for their collapse. At least, finally, they will be entertaining. In the wake of Bioware's second consecutive flop, the multiplayer version of Dragon Age continued to take shape. Maybe they should just have made an MMO. It could have worked, I think. While the previous games in the franchise have featured tactical combat, so much for action game. There are many flavors of action. This would be all action, instead of quests that players would only experience once. Be full of missions that could be replayed repeatedly with friends and strangers. Important characters couldn't die because they had to persist for multiple players across the never-ending gameplay. It's just like a sandbox, kind of a weak one at that, I feel. Weak. Kind of weak, not gonna lie. As the game evolved over the next 2 years, the filler of Anthem hovered over the studio. Were they making the same mistakes? Some Bioware employees scoffed that they were simply building Anthem with dragons. That was probably the case. At the end of the day, it's just make this game again with a different setting. Do we have to mention Fallout 76? It's literally built on Skyrim. You could just break the game and summon dragons on Fallout 76. It's so funny. Throughout 2020, the pandemic disrupted the game's already fraught development. In December, Halson, the head of the studio, and Dara, the head of the franchise, resigned. Shortly after, Gary McKay, Bioware's new studio head, revealed yet another shift in strategy. Moving forward, the next Dragon Age will no longer be multiplayer. And that was a good idea. Make no mistake about it, that was a good idea. But the changes were not good enough. We were thinking, does this make sense? Does this play into our strengths? Or is this going to be another challenge we have to face? McKay told Bloomberg News. Now, we need to get back to what we're really great at. And that's good, but you still didn't manage to make a good game. In theory, the reversion back to Dragon Age tried and true single-player format should have been welcome news inside Bioware, but there was a catch. Typically, this kind of pivots will will be coupled with a reset in a period of pre-production, allowing the designers to formulate a new vision of the game. Instead, the team was asked to change the game's fundamental structure and recast the entire story on the fly, including to people familiar with the new marching orders. They were given a year and a half to finish in total to aim for as wide a market as possible. As wide a market as possible! Oh, you had to appeal to everybody! Therefore, you had to make the most simplistic game, and therefore it's going to fail because it's gonna be boring. If you try to appeal to everybody, it's gonna appeal to nobody. And it keeps happening, and as we can see here, this literally happened. So I am once again forever justified in everything I say. Am I truly reactionary if I'm correct thanks to these facts? I don't think I am. This strict deadline became a recurrent problem. The development team would make decisions believing that they had less than a year to release the game, which severely limited the stories they could tell and the world they could build. Then the title would inevitably be delayed a few months, at which point they'd be stuck with those old decisions with no chance to stop and reevaluate what was working. At the end of 2022, amid continually dissing leadership changes, massive red flag. It doesn't matter the product or the company. This is a massive red flag because I've seen it firsthand. It's not good. You better be happy you're not being sold to, God, Germans or perhaps Indians. The studio started distributing alpha build of Dragon Age to get feedback internally and from outside play testers. And according to people familiar with the process, the reactions were concerning. Yeah, only concerning? The game's biggest problem, early players agreed, was the lack of satisfying choices and consequences. And that still was true up until release. There are no real choices, there are no real consequences. Because unlike other games, you can actually kill in-game characters, even companions. Why would you change that when people obviously like that? Previous BioWare titles had presented players with gut-wrenching decisions. Which allies to save, which factions to spare, which enemies to slay. Yeah, I slay Queen. That's probably wrong. These dilemmas made fans feel like they were shaping the narrative, historically a big draw for many BioWare games. But Dragon Age's multiplayer rules limited such choices, according to people familiar with the development. I want to finish this before I give my full vision of what's going on here. BioWare delayed the game's release again, while the team shoehorned in a few major decisions, such as which of two cities to save from a dragon attack. But because most of the parameters were already well established, the designers struggled to pair the newly retrofitted choices for players with meaningful consequences downstream. I suppose, but once again, why did you want to change so heavily what you were doing? Well, EA told me too. Why don't you tell them to shut the fuck up? Clearly, you know what works with your game and what sells your game, not EA. You don't know anything about Dragon Age. You do, because you made those games and you sold those games. If the first games were like that and they sold, and then you released Inquisition and it was like that and it sold, that means your player base, your fan base, your customer base likes that formula. Why would you change it so much? We had to appeal to everybody, and since we tried to appeal to everybody, we appeal to nobody. Therefore, the game's just boring and pure slop. And that's not even going with ideology, which this game obviously has. Ah, I'm binary! Ah, do you mean this? Which is an actual in-game terminology for what you're trying to say? From your own fucking species? No, I'm non-binary. Cannot have fucking shit in Detroit, man. Cannot have fucking shit in Detroit. It is that bad. In 2023, to help finish Dragon Age, BioWare brought in a second internal team, which was working the next massive. It's a joke. It could be a joke. For decades, there had been tension between the two well-established camps, no further starkly divergent ways of doing things. Don't you think that's a problem? They can't work together. They can work on their own and make good games on their own, potentially. But they're a little bit incompatible here. Bioware developers like to joke that the Dragon Age crew was like a pirate ship, meandering and sometimes traveling off course, but eventually reaching the port. It seems like a bad comparison for a company making a game. In contrast, the Mass Effect group was called the USS Enterprise, after the Star Trek ship, because commands were issued straight down from the top and executed zealously. Did that work? Did we get the new Mass Effect? Was it good? I don't even know. I was never into Bioware games. As the Mass Effect directors took control, they discovered that the Dragon Age squad had been doing a shitty job and began excluding their leaders from pivotal meetings. More red flags than in China, man, what the hell? Turn to people familiar with internal friction. Over time, the Mass Effect team went on to overhaul parts of the game and design a number of additional scenes, including a rich, emotional finale that players loved. Are we sure? But even changes that appeared to improve the game stuck the simmering rancor inside Bioware, infuriating the Dragon Age leaders who had been told they didn't have the budget for such big, ambitious swings. Playing favorites inside EA. I think that happens a lot, doesn't it? Not just EA, but these big companies that keep buying studios. Game is good, the studio's good. We can just buy them, do whatever. No, that's not how it works. Now we're seeing that when the Mass Effect team made its demands in meetings with EA regarding the resources they needed, and it got its way. I must feel like kicking the nuts, to be fair, okay? That's not cool. Said David Gator. More like David Gay. We keep meeting this guy. A former lead writer on the Dragon Age franchise who left before development of the new game started. But Dragon Age always had to fight against headwinds. Early testers and Mass Effect leads complained about the game's snarky tone. We just read this, right? Still a video game storytelling, once ascendant that was quickly falling out of fashion in pop culture, but had been part of Golden's vision for the multiplayer game. Falling out of fashion in pop culture. No, it was never good. But people are opening up, they're opening their eyes and understanding that this Reddit writing, it's just pure trash. Would the Dragon Age could face the same outcome as Forspoken, a recent title that had been hammered with its impertinent banter. Bioware leaders ordered a believable rewrite of the game's dialogue to make it sound more serious. In the end, the resulting internal inconsistencies would only add to the game's poor reception with fans. I didn't think the game was serious at all. You might disagree with me, but when we see stuff like main character have to manage the other party members as if they were like a kindergarten teacher, just having kids get along. You cannot tell me that's serious. Well, you cannot say that. You need to get along. They're adults. Don't treat them like 5-year-olds, but I suppose that's the extent of people nowadays. That's everything they understand. Immensely off at Bioware and demanded to work overtime. Black companies all around me. The pure morale, while in voice active strike limited the writer's ability to revise the dialogue and create new scenes. I think that's scope. Sure, I do understand that the VA strike was bad for the game, but the writers should know better. If the writing is good, the writing is good. You might have poor delivery, but if you need to see the delivery to finally realize that the dialogue doesn't make any sense, I don't think you're a good writer. And I'd say that while my writing experience just TTRPGs for a group of friends. But even though it was just TTRPGs, I take pride in my work and I try to do it the best I can. Of course I made mistakes, right? But it's fine, I'm not working in a AAA game. Not that you know of, at least. Not as a writer, maybe. An initial trailer made the next Dragon Age seem more like Fortnite than a Dark Fantasy role-playing game. I made that comparison. Once again, justified. Spring concerns that EA didn't know how to market the game. Not only market the game, but also make the game, as we've seen already with this article. When Dragon Age The Failguard finally premiered on Halloween 2024. Halloween 2024. What did they mean by this? After many internal delays, some staff members thought there was a lot to like, including the game's new combat system. And this is always terrifying to see. The players were less impressed and sales sputtered. And I had to suffer through games I like going through new combat systems. So we have to mention, as usual, right, Final Fantasy has been pivoting out of the turn-based role-playing game for many years, and I don't think that's good. I have to mention this every single time, right? Oh, but why is Final Fantasy 16 just an action game? Well, people don't like turn-based RPGs anymore. People like them. Just don't make them. What are you talking about? And they say that in the same year Baldur's Gate 3 released, which is really funny. We also have other games where it might not be as obvious, but they're obviously changing stuff, right? Maybe Pokemon games, the new Legends games, has new system that looks like Digimon World for the PS1. Wow, it's so new. What was wrong with the old system? It was actually probably the best part of the game. Such a intricate and nice combat system. Not anymore. Once again, I need to mention Dragon Quest 12. The only thing we know, because they told us, they're tinkering with the combat system. So I'm a little bit scared. And sometimes a new combat system might be good. I don't think optimized right now, but that doesn't mean I don't have examples fitting for a couple of days, right? But usually, the combat system is what makes the game what it is. Will you change an action game into a turn-based RPG? Yakuza Games did it. Is it good? I have no idea. I haven't played Like a Dragon yet. I'm going in order. But I guess people like them, so maybe it's not that bad, maybe it's just copium. Then again, in this case, it's just especially jarring because you went from tactical action game to just hack and slash, smash the buttons kind of gameplay. So it's not only that it's a new combat system, it's that it's less nuanced and less interesting. How many times have you said that today? I've said it so many times. If you took a drink every single time, you're probably dying already. The reactions to the fanbase are mixed, to put it gently. Yeah, that's kind of a cope. I'd say that's gently, indeed. Said Katie, a popular Dragon Age YouTuber. Sam myself, adore it for various reasons. Oh, so she's gay. I also feel utterly betrayed by certain design choices. Following the layoffs and staff reassignments at BioWare earlier in the year, a small team of a few dozen employees is now working on the next Mass Effect. Mass Effect, not Mass Effect. I guess that's the porn parody. Or the pirate parody, who knows. After 3 high-profile failures in a row, questions linger about EA's commitment to the studio. In May, the company relabeled its inventory headquarters from a BioWare office to a hub for all EA staff in the area. Keep making trash games, you're gonna get hit by layoffs. Just nature, man. Historically, BioWare has never been the most important studio at the EA, which generates more than 7 billion USD in annual revenue largely from its sports games and shooters. Are you ready for some football? I don't think those are good games, but they do sale with normies. Also, I'm not quite sure if it's EA or another trashy company like this, but they have those purely sports games with Gamba. So yeah, that makes a lot of money. I don't think that's good. That's extremely predatory in my opinion. Depending on the time of these launches, BioWare typically accounts for just 5% of EA's annual bookings, according to estimates by Colin Sebastian, and analysts with Robert W. Baron & Co. I don't know who these guys are. Analysts, obviously. Picking the mic, I'm sorry, happens a little bit. It's been happening a lot recently. getting too passionate. I think that's actually good. At least I'm not boring, I suppose. Even so, there may be strategic reasons for EA to keep supporting BioWare. Being in competition against BioWare, or this guy, Jason Schreier. Single-player role-playing games are expensive to make, but can lead to huge windfalls when successful, as demonstrated by recent hits like Cyberpunk 2077. Is Cyberpunk a role-playing game? I don't think that's correct. I thought it was an action game. Well, people call RPGs everything, so who knows. Elden Ring and Baldur's Gate 3. In order to grow, EA needs more than just sports franchises. Are we sure? I think it's working for them. So, TD Cohen, Alice the Quite? Is this German? Don't think it's fantasy focused studio may be easier than starting something new. That said, if they shut the doors tomorrow, I wouldn't be totally surprised, Quite said. Added. It has been over a decade since they produced a hit. Because they can make it trash. And... is this the next one? Ah, shit, I don't think it is. I'm not quite sure. I know I have... No, it's a different one, but it's an important one. My tab order today is a little bit strange. You have to excuse me a little bit. I have a lot of stuff today. So, since this was not pre-read, yeah, we're gonna make some mistakes. Okay, hold on, let me take a look at something here real fast. Okay, that's cool. So, what are the problems here? Well, obviously, EA bought BioWare, and it's not working well for BioWare. Oh, but Inquisition was good! Yes, that was 2014. What happened since 2014? We've seen many problems in the industry. First of all, and I had to get it out of the way, because it's gonna be important, ideology. Okay? We cannot take out the ideology from here because it's an actual issue. They keep trying to push ideology in these games, and you can see that clearly in the background. That's a big problem. Other problem we have, greed. EA, Ubisoft, and all these companies, extremely greedy. They will tell you, your fan base will always come here, so just try to appeal to everybody, without understanding their customers. Bad idea. Real bad idea. What they should have done was, now you have to make a live service game, online and all that, for everybody. They should have said, no, this is gonna be a disaster, and this is not gonna sell. We're gonna waste a bunch of resources in a massive flop. But they didn't. You need to be gutsy, you need to be ballsy, you need to stand it up to the man. Maybe that's just me, but I think that works, okay? What do we have here? Additional problems. You have people coming and going constantly from the studios. And this has been happening not only in BioWare, not only in EA, but this has been happening on many companies. That's bad. Too many cooks in the pot, too many people coming and going, massive red flags. The company is not working properly. You're just throwing money at the problem instead of fixing it. Bad, bad, bad. And what else do we have? Can we have something else on top of this? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. But those are the main issues. The thing is, all of those issues are not just floating in a void. All of them are related. Because obviously they are. So first of all, ideology. If you keep hiring people that only want to push an ideology, and there's no better example than the Veilguard, they're not gonna be good enough. They're just ideologues. They're not gonna be good enough. They're not gonna be passionate enough about the product for what it is. They're gonna be passionate about it so they can push their ideology. Therefore, the quality is gonna suffer. We get greediness here, right? So of course, they will hear whatever they tell them. Oh, this is gonna be good. We need to add this, this, and that, and it's gonna sell like hotcakes. Even though they're blatantly lying, or maybe they do believe their lies. how they're meant to hire a bunch of DEI recruits. We need more black people, we need more women people, we need more gay people and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, but why does it matter that they're women, black, gay, or whatever? Shouldn't we care about hiring people that are good? Well, yes. Once again, related to ideology, related to greediness. And this ends up compounding with huge companies that have thousands upon thousands of workers that keep running around different studios, different projects, even different companies, and they're not good enough. So, you have all of these problems that are actually related. Why do you think you're gonna make a good product? Why do you think you're gonna sell a good product? Because you have no fucking idea of what you're doing. Once again, low quality. Not only the workers, but also the higher ups. And all of this is related. It's not just, oh, these anti-woke crusaders and whatnot. No. People are against DEI. People are against forced diversity and whatnot. Because they understand, even though something's just in unspoken way, maybe they just understand it's a problem, but didn't understand how, that all of these problems are related with each other. So, if you try to tackle down something that's really obvious, maybe everything else will get a little bit better. Is it gonna be perfect? Obviously not. But as long as it gets better, it's a path to victory, I suppose. So I guess I'm gonna move stuff around here a little bit, because I think this is important. Because I think this makes sense. Even though this was supposed to be for a little bit later. Because we have Paul Tassi, more like Paul Tassi. I can't have to see this guy have a good take. Game journalist, imagine that. He had this from Pirate Nation. Paul Tassi claims gamers reject woke games in Concord, and Dragon Age Veilguard are a loud minority. And we have this interaction here. Paul, how do you consider, when quite clearly the majority of gamers reject these woke games, I think the failures of each and every one of these games, that perhaps you may be the one on the wrong side of this? Just ask yourself the one question and generally, critically, examine your own stance on the side. It is not a clear majority, it is a loud minority. No game fails purely because it's quote-unquote woke. Not this, not Conquer, or whatever you're going to reference. All these games also have real issues, separate from all that, obviously. But all of those issues do not exist in a vacuum. All of them are related. As I just explained. So yes, Paul Tassi, you are wrong. Because you cannot see everything that's happening. You expect more from a games journalist, but then you remember that they're probably at the bottom of the barrel. And you will have some games that push propaganda and whatnot that will be successful to certain extents because the game is good enough. Because people don't really care too much about propaganda. People will fall for the propaganda if it's sweet enough, which is also a different problem. Big problem, but different problem. Lo and behold, we've seen games getting worse. We've seen games getting propagandistic in nature, but yet they still sell. Because they're apparently good enough, or they just have good enough ads. Because people, especially gamers, they don't care. And that not caring attitude can be exploited. We also have this Brad Glasgow guy. I meant to talk about this Jason Schreier report in Bloomberg about the failure of the Veilguard. The thing we just read. It's a bunch of crap. Because of the articles, the developers from BioWare blame EA and poor business decisions behind the failure of Veilguard. They blame marketing misfires, poor word of mouth, along with switching from multiplayer focus to single player. EA sucks, sure. Everyone knows this, sure. But I'm not seeing any self-reflection here. EA didn't force them to write like crap. EA didn't force them to try to use the game to promote transgender acceptance. EA didn't force them to make boring, ugly characters. You can blame EA for this pulling apart crap, That's all the developers who work on this game. And they were trying to blame the EA strike on this. No, if the writing is bad, the writing is bad. There's nothing you can do unless it's writing better. You can blame EA for hiring Laura Kate Dale, the game journalist who publicly said her life was over after receiving mild criticism from Anita Sarkeesian. And you might be wondering, who is this woman again? Well, I didn't know. But I found this by Christina Tasty. This hit me like a freight train. There's a lot of running defense to make EA the boogeyman. But someone hired the journalist who intentionally lied about Persona 5 and got shamed to resigning. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Persona 5 DLC includes a disabilities lore. Because this chick thought they were saying retard. And they weren't saying retard. I don't remember what they said, but it was not retard. She's working on Dragon Age apparently. Hilarious. They keep failing upwards. Disgusting. I guess we have a couple more bits here. You can blame EA for the downfall of Bioware, sure, but you can just sit there and put out subpar game after subpar game for the past decade and still call yourself a competent developer. True, more harsh than me even. You want a good game, hire developers who make good games. I say this all the time because it's so obvious. This boy Schreier is a mid-journalist at best. Yet, yeah, he can get the scoops. These developers who all carry the same ideology, love talking to him. But there's no critical examination here, he just serves as their propaganda machine. Not wrong, he's just running defense for these companies, once again. Are these good? No, obviously not. How do we know? They keep making bad games, and these bad games don't sell. Are they good? One thing is being good like 20 years ago. One different thing is being good today. Many companies that were really good 20 years ago are not that great nowadays. I'm looking at you, Square Enix. I keep looking at you. Excuse me. And to take a sip here. So let's move on the next article, because it's on the same line as this one. I will not stop companies that want to make good games and collabs. Sure, do it. It will be funny. And this one now is gonna be Sony. Sony remains committed to diverse and resilient live service games, including forthcoming marathon and fair games. Are we sure it's fair? Despite high-profile failures. Live and let live. Yet they're going to die. Funny how that works. Also, it's really interesting how they showcase you here their new narrative. It's not diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's diverse and resilient. Oh, what is this? Something fresh? It's literally the same thing. During an annual Sony business presentation, CEO Herman Holst stated the company remains committed to building a diverse and resilient portfolio of live service games. Once again, live service games, a melody to the hobby, which includes the release Marathon and Fair Games. I think I've seen a little bit about Marathon. People are calling it Concord 2, so you know it's gonna be good. That's right. As despite high-profile live service failures, in addition to controversy with these two forthcoming games, thing is, they know they can make a huge amount of money if these live service games are successful. But they're failing to understand that these games are not going to be successful, no matter how much they try. The time of live service is coming to an end, I feel. I don't know what the new age is. AA, indies, people keep saying that, but I'm not so sure. Holst stated that Sony is building on the successes of games such as Helldivers 2 and Destiny 2 for future projects. Was Destiny 2 actually successful? I don't know too much about that game. I know that Destiny players are obsessed with that game, and they also hate it, so... maybe that's true, it's just like League of Legends. We look forward to showcasing our progress with Marathon, a game that has no shortage of controversy recently. Helldivers 2, the large jewel in Sony's live service crown, was having resounding critical and commercial success with Holst, who highlighted both its ability to retain a passionate community and win industry awards. Guys, are you forgetting that Helldivers 2 had several big controversies in and out of the game? It was not only the PSN account requirement, which was a problem. You also had was the community managers, Discord mods, I'm not quite sure, I don't remember, being extremely strange and ideologically driven. You also had the debacle of, yeah, we are manipulating our players to be fascists. Such extreme things to say. And then you start with the Super Earth series missions, where it doesn't matter if you win or fail, the result is all the same. Yeah, I'd be cautious mentioning Helldivers 2. I guess it was a financial success, at least. Host called Marathon, not even bald. More like bald. Another compliments were offered to Bungie's upcoming extraction shooter. Yet another extraction shooter, man? Aren't you bored of this? The companion's line noted strong early engagement as his prime achievement so far. What kind of engagement, though? If it's negative, I don't think that will help you. An interesting perspective, to be sure, at least as far as Marathon is concerned. While much of what Holt said about Helldivers 2 is true, the game has managed to remain a fantastic success story for the industry giant. Marathon has found itself on the receiving end of some exceptional problems. I wonder why. Surely the game is gonna be good. The strong early engagement, noting the presentation doesn't reflect the available player figures for the game's closed alpha. During the short-lived test, Marathon shed roughly 80% of his initial alpha player base. I think that's actually kinda bad. That's a lot of players to shed. As for engagement via discussion, Marathon's many problems dominate the conversation, such as its lack 3-player format and lack of feasible solo mode, repetitive nature, lack of crucial extraction shooter features, such as proximity voice, and more. Okay. You can make successful live service games, I must say the live action again, yet you're missing basic mechanics and basic features. How do you expect this to be successful? No, people are gonna tear this down because it's obviously a half a game. Because it's missing important stuff. How is this so difficult to understand? I would never understand. But the biggest merits of Marathon was its aesthetic. We soon saw to an art plagiarism scandal. I remember reading about that. We didn't cover this in our stream, but I do remember reading about this. Bungie admitted to the use of external art in the game's development process, eliminating a former employee and committing to a full audit of in-game assets in order to remove any stolen work. People were running like a coping campaign saying, well, it's just that it's not gonna be a big deal at the end of the day. They're just trying to attack the game because it's so fantastic. No, it's just that the problems keep piling up. That's probably bad for a game that's not out yet. And it's also live service. I didn't say live action this time, I knew. This situation will probably send morale at Bungie into free fall. Then we have Fair Games, which hasn't been shown off much since its initial reveal. A cooperative haste game, it was recently delayed to studio founder Jade Raymond, departing for greener pastures. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be that good, what can you say? That could be a big problem. This game following running external tests, according to reports from Bloomberg. It's always Bloomberg. Are they blooming? According to Raymond in a 2022 Game Industry.biz article, more than 30% of the studio is currently working on machine learning, artificial intelligence, and cloud-based dev tools. I don't think they're based at all. What can you say? Machine learning and AI? It's gonna be useful. But you need to temper your expectations. It's not gonna be as great as you think. Not soon, at least. Technology that has proven divisive in recent years, to say the least. Not to mention what could possibly be the most devastating hit to Fair Games yet. The removal of the Dark Sign from its title. They don't want to make money. Why didn't make that change? It's just silly, right? It's clear that, despite the uncertainty surrounding Sony's upcoming live service releases, the company wishes to remain entrenched in this space, or at the very least, to appear confident in its continued presence in the world of live service. It's worth noting the full record of Sony's venture into live service, which includes the legendary Blunder Concord. Oh, that was so good though. A cancelled live service in God of War project. The Last of Us Online, which didn't actually release, it was also cancelled. And more. They actually cancelled a bunch of live service stuff not too long ago. I think it was earlier this year. Sony, which initially wanted to release 12 live service games by March 2026, has cut that figure down to 6. Let's see if that happens still. Sony's single-player output, however, has proven a far better offering for PlayStation fans. Early in this presentation, Holtz highlighted releases such as Astrobot, God of War Ragnarok, I don't think it was that good of a game, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which also had a lot of trouble with, dare I say, ideology. Describing such releases as Square strength for Sony, it appears though this style of game has proven more successful overall for the company. But this is really strange. They're obviously trying to come here. Oh, just for the money. But it's not gonna work. It's once again, this company is being so extremely greedy. And sure, you want to make the most amount of profit, but at the same time, I have to tell you this. You still need to make a good product first for that to happen. And it's clear, this is not the way to go. So yeah, I don't know how to tell you this. If you have success with single-player games, you should keep going with single-player games. You should stop trying to push the live service games, because it's not gonna work. You should keep trying, demand the players just to buy the remakes, remasters and whatnot, so that you can actually make new and exciting IPs. Let's see if that works. God damn it, man, what the fuck? They keep trying to appeal just to the lowest common denominator of games here. What else do they have here? I have a bunch of stuff to go through. Oh. Speaking of more pretty companies, I suppose. What about the Ubisoft, huh? Ubisoft has rigged Assassin's Creed 2 on Steam, but still being sold. Assassin's Creed 2 no longer playable. I guess this is a screenshot from the game. And it's not starting properly anymore. And as you can see, you can still buy it. €10, $10, which should be illegal. I'm gonna hear the line, DRM is letting them play the game. Same issue as Crew 2. And then we have here a Reddit post. It's true, Ubisoft won't be fixing it. I got a response from Ubisoft. They will not fix it. We have no start post-launch support on this game, as our development team has moved on to other projects. We have no further updates planned for this title, so this issue will most likely remain in the game. We hope you still will be able to enjoy your time playing, and I apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused. But the game doesn't work. But the game doesn't work, it's not a bug or buggy. The game doesn't work. And they will tell me, do you hate the French? Why? Do you see the shit? It keeps happening. It's only justified. They keep selling you games that you cannot actually play. This is illegal. This is truly illegal. This is insanity. But there's more stuff with Ubisoft going on recently. We also have this article from, I think, June 9th. I thought it was late May. I guess I was wrong. Ubisoft trial witnesses testified to being tied to a chair, forced to do handstands, and subjected to constant comments about sex. Oh, France. Always degenerate. A child allegedly told one woman, "Don't make a big thing of it." Is it that big? Jesus Christ, that's kinda long, I guess. It's fine. Ubisoft developers have told the French court that former execs Serge Hascout, Tommy Francois, and Guillaume Petrax, probably butchering these names, I don't care, they're French, allegedly perpetuated a systemic culture of sexism and abuse. Former Chief Creative Officer Serge Hascout and ex-VP of Editorial and Creative Services Tommy Francois both left the publisher in summer 2020, following allegations of widespread abuse, harassment, and discrimination within Ubisoft, including claims against the two executives. Former director Guillaume Petrax. It's probably something like Petru, right? Right? Mais oui. Has similarly being accused of harassment. Harassment? I don't do this on purpose. The French! I'm infected. It's terminal. Of harassment and bullying. In all, 5 former executives from Ubisoft were arrested by French police in 2023, following a year-long investigation into sexual assault and harassment within the company. All 3 defendants denied the charges. Well, yeah, of course. Yes, I'm a sex pest. They're not gonna say that. What are you talking about? As reported by The Guardian, the trial, which began at the beginning of this month, has heard witnesses tell of feeling terrified, unlike pieces of meat, with state prosecutor Antoine Schalter, that looks like German to me, who knows, reporting overwhelming evidence of harassment. In 4 days of hearings, female former staff members variously described being tied to a chair, forced to do handstands, suggested to content comments about sex and their bodies, having to endure sexist and homophobic jokes, drawings of penises being stuck to computers, and images reported in workers' faces, or scribbled on women with marker pens. Not even my high school was this fucking wild. I guess my middle school was even worse, but it was not like this even. Give unsolicited shoulder messages, create pornographic films in an open blank office, and another executive who cracked a whip near people's heads, because of reports. Crack that whip. Licorice whip. Likening the culture to boys club between 2010 and 2020, one alleged victim told the court sexual remarks and sexual jokes were almost daily. Fucking Frenchies, dude, it keeps happening. One who worked for Francois, I did the former VP made her to understand wearing a skirt. I think you can just say no. I mean, there are women, so they're more agreeable, right? What do I know? Just disappear, and I was afraid of him, she said. He made me do handstands. I had to get it over with and get rid of him. Still want to believe the woman, but you can always say no. You can raise the biggest stinker and then sue them. He was accused of kissing a member of staff on the lips without consent at the Christmas party, as killed Jesus, restraining her by the arms and back. I don't think that's good. I don't think I'm woken off, but I don't think that's good, okay? That's actually sexual assault. A different witness said that during a US trip, he grabbed her by the hair and kissed her by force. Well, she wasn't grabbed at the pussy. No one present reacted or stopped him, and when she reported him to HR on her return, she was told, "Don't make a big thing of it." Well, that makes sense. HR is not there to protect you, it's to protect the company. Schiller had to refute rumors she'd been caught snugging Francois, even though he knew it had been an assault. God fucking damn it, there's just sex pests, dude. The woman reports these incidents made her feel stupefied, humiliated, and professionally discredited. Francois denies all charges, claims there was a culture of joking around the studio, insists, "I never tried to harm anyone. I don't think sexual assault is a joke, okay? Sexual assault, bad? Wow, what a hot take." Aspect is similarly accused of sexual harassment and bullying. He reportedly told colleges at an away day that one of the 0 female colleges didn't have enough sex, and said he would show how to comb hair by having sex with her in the next room. There's always that guy in the company that always make that kind of comments, right? They're not usually well liked, but they're not usually higher ups either. So this is a big problem. It's also alleged to have talked about a boot. Okay, a boot. You're Canadian now. So he shut the office, built his assistants, and made him undertake personal tasks during the working day. Just picking up parcels. The former exec denies all charges, saying, I have never wanted to harass anyone, and I don't think I have. Come on guys, it's not harassment, it was a funny haha. What do you mean sexual assault? Come on guys, please, please, please. I beg of you. Stop this madness. It's so obvious it's wrong. It's painfully obvious. These fucking people. The trucks also accused of physical harassment in the building, allegedly punched walls, mind punching staff, played with a super lighter in their workers' faces, hitting a light man's beard, and threatened to carry out an office shooting. Too edgy, man, too edgy. He has reportedly cracked the whip in the face of his colleagues. After 4 days of hearings, the judges have retired to consider the evidence and reach a verdict. All 3 men denied the charges. Yeah, no shit. Ah, Ubisoft, Ubisoft. Always a fucking disaster, but you keep giving me content. What can you say? What can you say, man? Yeah, my throat's killing me, man. What can you say, too? How about that? Fuck him. That's what I say, fuck him. So let's finish the gaming stuff with something I found just early today, which was interesting. We have this Meow character here saying, why media sucks now? Because your dopamine reward system's fried from doom scrolling, rage bait, and a of YouTubers saying, why media sucks now? Media doesn't suck. Some of them probably are, it's just your ability to experience joy has been algorithmically low-optimized. Your attention span is cooked, your opinion is secondhand, and your emotional response is dictated by likes. If everything feels empty, it's not always Art's fault. Sometimes it's because you've turned your brain into demented husk, and now everything feels like trash. I think it's quite the opposite. This could be the case for young people, because young people don't know the good times before, when we had good games, good movies, good shows, and even dare I say, good music. But everything is getting worse by the day. And I can tell, because your attention span is cooked. That is not true for me. I keep playing real long games. Your opinion is second hand. You might think I'm just, one of those evil, far-right grifters, but no. I've been building my opinion through the ages. From way before these people were around. So no. I also disagree a lot with some of these types, because they just chase trends. And your emotional response is dictated by likes. Absolutely untrue. Once again, I don't work with like consensus. I just work with whatever I think is right and whatever I think is not right. If people disagree with me, I'm gonna think they're probably wrong, and most of the time they're actually wrong. Not to suck my own sausage too much, but it's been happening constantly. So that's why you can say that. So no, things are bad, because things have been getting worse and worse. This is just shut up, consume product. We have a quote retweet here by look at my meat. I was just talking about sausage, I guess it makes sense, with Johan here. Play games from the 2000s. It's a complete experience, as the devs intended it. Play game today. Half the content was taken out during development to be sold to me later. Another third was made to Battle Pass. I think me today does suck. And even though this guy is not wrong with this, it's not going far enough. Because sure, back in the day, you would buy a game and the game was complete. And also on top of that, you could get expansions, sometimes for free, add a lot of content. I know I keep mentioning this game, but you have to understand, it was one of my first PC games, so it means a lot to me. Sacred, for a lot of people, would be nothing more than a Diablo clone. Guess that might be right, I've never played Diablo actually. But you could get, at least in some places, the expansion for free. It added 2 more characters from the base 6 in a new campaign with a new part of the map that was 50% more map. That was for free. And the game wasn't even that expensive, it was like 10, 20 bucks? I don't remember, it's been a long time. It's from like early to mid 2000s. Please understand. And the base game was good. And you could get an expansion on top of that literally for free. Wow, that doesn't happen anymore. The closest thing would be something like The Witcher 3 with some of the DLC. Was it Blood and Wine for like 5 bucks, being extremely expensive content? Sure. But also you have that these new games, I keep saying this, but it is true, and I need to keep saying this because people need to understand. It's not only that they take out content from the progression of the game, it's that they lack nuance. They are boring because the mechanics are boring. Because you see new games, it's just so simplistic, it bores me to no end. And sometimes I'm like, well, yeah, this game was not that bad, it was okay, I guess. Nothing is truly wrong, but at the same time, nothing truly special. It's a game, it's just a game. What can you say? This game is a game. This made is 100% made of game. But there's nothing special. Yet you go back to all the games. And I guess I have to mention here, back in the story, because I finally started playing it on a stream. The system is so extremely special, so extremely convoluted, and that's why people like games. And we can take a look here at this first reply. Games suck now, movies suck now. The reason is simple. We didn't gatekeep hard enough. We just let people enjoy things, fake fans, enter spaces, and they utterly ruin it for the real fans. Normalize gatekeeping. Normally start on filtering people out of fandoms. This guy is not wrong, this guy is absolutely correct. We have these illegal immigrants in the hobby. It happened in the early to mid 2010s, when they started to advertise gaming as a way of life instead of just a hobby. And even worse, in 2020. So now you have sizable groups of people saying they like games, and maybe they like games, but they don't understand why they like games. Some of them just like games because games are the thing right now. They're the cool thing. So of course I'm gonna like the cool thing. Well, no. And a lot of these types don't even understand what a video game is. We read a couple of weeks ago, it was more than a couple, but a couple of weeks ago, this games journalist complaining, oh, but the game is keeping me from accessing the whole story. Yes, because the games are not interactive movies. If you make an interactive movie and sell it as a game, it's gonna be a PS4 game. Games, first and foremost, have to be games. They must have a set of mechanics, and you can only work inside the given mechanics. That's what a game is. Mechanics, rules, whatever you want to call them. That's the fun of the games. Playing inside the constraints and doing something cool, something special, something entertaining. And new games don't do this, because these new games, God, they all look the same. Once again, I have to say this, they all look the same. Ah, this is Souls-like. Well, every action game has to be a Souls-like, or just a generic and bare bones hack and slash. That's so boring. Oh, everything has to be an open world experience with nothing really to explore. Why? Why is this the case? Well, because you have a lot of people that don't understand what the hobby is about. So, I guess they're trying to cater to them. That's what we saw with EA a little back. And it's so obvious they're worse, because I can give myself as an example, it's only myself. If you keep going back to old games, you see these games, sure, they might have strange limitations because technology was limited, right? but the in-game mechanics were usually quite unique. Not necessarily good, but unique, right? A lot of people are probably going to hate OG Digimon World for the PS1 because it's a really strange game. It's kind of rough game too, but it's really unique. You have to admit, it's really unique. And if you play the game, you're always going to remember the game because it was that strange Digimon game. That's what makes games memorable. Unlike what's happening today. And it's not only games. It's not only me. I keep seeing people going back to all the games. Wow, this game is always so good. So much better than the new ones. What the hell happened? I can also say that with movies, with shows, and especially with music, right? For example, with movies, I said this many times before, but we're not gonna get something as good and as big as the Lord of the Rings movies. It's not gonna happen. And do not mention Marvel. You're not gonna make it if you mention Marvel. The first Marvel movies were okay, but then it just became, I'm just watching the same movie with different characters and different superpowers, but it's literally the same formula. Why would I watch this more than 20 times? Doesn't make any sense. But I think it's really telling with music. Because if you watch movies, even the terrible new movies, you understand, maybe in a spoken way, that they keep using all music from the 80s for a reason. 70s, 80s, early 90s. If you are really spicy, maybe 2000. Why is that? Because people will go and say, "Ah, that's cool, I like that." But people don't understand why. Because introspection can be really hard. But I can tell you why. You understand that that's good. You understand that it's higher quality. You don't understand why or how. But you understand that because your limbic system is telling you so. And I don't think your limbic system is wrong. That's the problem. People are in this strange abusive relation with these entertainment industries. Ah, but it's so good. Don't you like Final Fantasy? Why don't you want to play Final Fantasy 16? Has nothing to do with the Final Fantasies I like. Trying to push myself to buy the game and tread through it will be a miserable experience. Because I understand that the game is not what I want it to be. But a lot of people don't understand that, well, it's a Zelda game, it has to be good. It's a Final Fantasy game, it has to be good. It's a Monster Hunter game, it has to be good. It's a, I don't know, whatever. It has to be good. Well, no, not necessarily. It was good before. It doesn't mean that the name will make the game good. Especially when it's been 10, 20, even 30 years in some cases. A lot of people are out from those companies. A lot of new people are in. So those studios are fundamentally different. Even if you have the same director, even if you have the same producer, a lot of people changed. So it's not gonna be the same. Sometimes for the best, but most of the time for the worst. And that's the issue. People don't understand what is wrong with this media. But it's so easy. If you don't like it, it's because you don't like it. It's that easy. You don't like it because it's bad. You remember the games that were good, the movies that were good. Oh, it's nostalgia. And you go back to new old games. They're old games, but they're new to you. And just stand there, staring. Wow, this is so good. What the hell happened? I know that, because that happens to me too. It's not nostalgia. Things were better before. You can hate me for saying that, but I know I'm right. Sadly. It keeps happening. Oh man. Okay, what else do we have here? I think we have like a couple more articles that don't have anything to do with video games here. So let's get to this one because it's gonna be really funny. I guess I said this word before today, so I can say it again. Do you like the word retard? It's making a comeback, baby. It's finally coming back. It's a slur. Shut the fuck up, retard. It's actually really useful for a vibe check. What can you say? The R word is back. How slur became renormalized. Well, it should always be normal. You calling it a slur doesn't make it a slur. You absolute piece of... I should temper my language, just in case. On the April episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, the host is slur within the first 45 seconds of the show. The word retard is back. One of the great culture victories, Rogan said with a laughing April 10th episode of his uber popular podcast, currently spurred on by podcasts. A few months earlier, on January 6th, Elon Musk used the word in response to the Finnish researcher who called Musk the largest spreader of disinformation in human history. Yet the slur more than doubled on X, formerly Twitter, the platform Musk owns, in 2 days after he made that January post. Researchers from Montclair State University found more than 312,000 subsequent posts made on Twitter in that span contained the R word, wrote co-author Bond Banting, a professor of communication at the New Jersey University. Stop being so lame. Oh, it's so dangerous. I fucking hate these people. The bug didn't stop there, Benton said. Throughout 2025, influential public figures like Rogan, Musk, Kanye West, that's an example, I guess, have used the R word on platforms where millions can see and hear them. It was common vernacular until not long ago. West most recently used the term in March to refer to Jay-Z and Beyonce's twins. Those Twitter posts are not deleted. Yeah, well, Kanye West is kind of a schizophrenic kind of guy. So I don't know what to tell you. Since most can repost, the only problems with the R word is absolutely getting worse, Benton told CNN. It was not from January, it's been happening since Elon bought Twitter. Rogan, Musk, and West are likely using the word to get a rise out of people and draw more eyes to their content, Benton said. But using a term that has historically been used to disparage and diminish people with disabilities. Historically? Get your head out of your ass, man, what the fuck? Are you retarded? You might be. They're renormalizing the slur among followers and fans who interact with their posts, he said. You know what? Maybe that's because I'm not American. I don't understand the concept of slurs, okay? How is it possible that you have silly words that you cannot say unless you belong to that group? It makes literally no sense to me. Right? And they will tell you, especially with the mighty power word, N for nice, right? They are trying to break the stigma on the word, so only black people can say it. If only black people can say it, if they will always raise a stink when somebody else says it, if you're gonna get perm-banned, deplatformed, fired just for saying it, you're giving it more power. You're not breaking any stigma, you're giving it more power. I suppose that's what they're trying to do. So yeah, and I do remember not that long ago, because that was on YouTube, and YouTube is not that old in the great scheme of things. Craig William Johnson saying the N-word on video. Soft N-word, not hard R, sure. And nothing happened. In those same videos, he beeped out the word fuck. But he said the soft N-word and nothing happened. You know why? Because it was used commonly back then. It was not a big deal. Nobody cared. I do remember a friend of mine was watching a League of Legends streamer, and suddenly he was like, yeah, you're gonna use the N-word. You're gonna get banned. And we're like, huh? What do you mean? What's the N-word? I don't understand. Do you mean nerd? No, it was obviously the N-word for black people. But it was so normalized that we didn't understand. So yes, you are not taking out any kind of power or any kind of stigma from the world. You're giving it more power. The same can be said of everything that's considered slur, by the way. As Rogan and West haven't responded to CNN's request for comment, they're not gonna talk to you. Piece of shit. What did you expect? Especially not Kanye. Come on now. The surges of the art world is symptomatic of a forever problem. The apparent death of empathy. No, it's not the death of empathy. Said Ajay Mercenary, an associate professor at American University, has studied how the far right uses tech to grow its influence. Oh no, not the far right, like progressive Elon Musk or Democrat Joe Rogan. And then we have Kanye West with just schizophrenic. What you're seeing now, people's masks are off. Mercenary said, this is not just misunderstanding, but the mischaracterization and demonization of communities. The use of that kind of language is signaling a shift, a desire to sort of push the envelope. Now, you fucking retard. People are not disrespecting groups of people that have, how to say this, mental disabilities. They're calling you a fucking idiot, you dumbass. It's just an insult. If you take insults out, people will come up with new insults. Because you cannot stop the free exchange of ideas. That's humanity's superpower. Here's the envelope too far, and the harm spills out into all marginalized communities. The art world's surging popularity is just the latest effort in a movement to normalize hate, she said. I don't think that is true. I don't think that actually makes sense, because it's not a word used against people with disabilities. It's used against people without disabilities to insult them. Because how is it possible that you, supposedly a normal person, are more stupid than somebody with disabilities? You would expect a disabled person to be disabled, because that's just obvious. This is gonna piss me off, I bet. The art war hasn't really gone away, Mercenary said. Many people still use the word in private, and controversial far-right influencers, and some members of the former Dirtbag Left podcast scene alike have used it for years to rile up followers and appeal to edgy comedic styles. Oh, not the comedy. That's it. You're getting called a slur. I don't know which one. The one I wanna use, I suppose. But most people were comfortable with word retreating from normal discourse after use of campaigns designed to end use of the slur, Benton said. Yeah, no, that's a contradiction. People were comfortable with word retreating from normal discourse after we've been beating them over the head constantly after years of shameful campaigns. They're not comfortable. They are tired of you. So they're gonna say, okay, sure, leave me the fuck alone. I won't use the word, just shut the fuck up, get out of my house. There was a reason these words are no longer being used, Mercenary said. They weren't productive. Doubt. They weren't helping, doubt. They're actively harming communities, that's the point. To harm stupid people. To call you out. Oh my god. The R word initially was meant to replace words that had become pejoratives. Introducing 1895, mental retardation began to prefer term among psychologists, supplanting the nasty labels imbecile, moron, and feeble-minded, said Lick Van Hume. Van Human. Is this guy human? A clinical associate professor in disability and human development in the University of Illinois, Chicago. The R word was intended to be a neutral term, Van Human said, and people with disabilities then were still largely disregarded and treated as lesser members of society. Regularly institutionalized in dangerous environments, they were forcibly sterilized without the consent. Okay, that's not happening nowadays. It hasn't happened in a long time. Okay? Under those conditions, the R word eventually warped into slur and an insult, she said. Words become insults because there's this need to insult people, because that's how humanity works. That's how humanity works, okay? I could call you a fucking pig as an insult, but there's nothing wrong with pigs, they're really useful. More useful than you. When disabilities frame as lack, limitation, or loss, it reinforces the idea that people with disabilities are inherently incapable. It's literally the definition. Someone with disability means a lack of ability. Yes. They have a lack of ability. They have a limitation. They have potentially a loss. I mean, someone that cannot, with a hearing disability, has hearing loss. It reinforces the idea that people with disabilities are inherently incapable, which is true. There's nothing wrong with that, because not every single human is capable of everything in this world. But if you're blind, you shouldn't be doing something that has you use vision, right? It only makes sense. If you have some sort of impediment in your legs, perhaps, only perhaps, I don't think you're gonna win a race. That's fine. You have an inherent incapability of doing so because you're disabled, because you have a lack of mobility, a limitation, or a loss. People are not equal, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with people being different. There's nothing wrong with disabled people. They should have our utmost compassion, because some of these disabilities are actually really bad. I wouldn't like to be blind. Oh my god. Being deaf is one thing. Being blind? That's really difficult, man. That's really difficult. But that doesn't mean I'm disparaging them. If I call you a blind ass, that means that you're not looking properly. It may be an insult, or it may be just banter. How is this so difficult to understand? And also, treating people with disabilities as if they didn't have them. It's dangerous for them. No. If your legs don't work properly, I don't think you should be an active policeman. It's gonna be dangerous for you and for civilians. Don't do that. Sure, maybe you can work in the police office. Sure, that's fine. It's not a big deal, because you don't need to use your legs to do the job. It's so easy to understand. It's what they call these suicidal empathy. It's not empathy, man. It's not empathy. It's pride at best. At best in a positive way, so you know it's bad. It's just coercion. It's just narcissism. No, they have. If they're disabled, they're missing abilities. And that's fine. It doesn't mean they're less legally. But at the same time, you cannot completely ignore the pragmatic thought of, well, yeah, if this guy is in a wheelchair, perhaps it would be ill-advised to take this guy for a swimming competition. I don't know if you can swim with just your arms, but I don't think it's gonna be good. That seems like a problem. This framing seems to justify their exclusion from everyday life, if they're missing what it takes to participate. In some cases, yes, and that's fine. I mean, they're still humans. But I think I gave more than enough examples with this. Since language is not harmless, it influences public attitudes, informs policy decisions, and not only affects how people with disabilities are treated. No, I think you're actually doing them wrong here. Because people with disabilities need to be treated properly as disabled. If you have people with movement impairments, let's say they're missing a leg, they have to be in a wheelchair, and there are many kinds of disabilities, right? But I think the movement disabilities are easy to understand. You shouldn't treat them as if they didn't have them, because they obviously have them. So, yes, adding ramps is a good idea. Adding elevators is a good idea. Doing otherwise would be actually dangerous for these people. How am I supposed to reach my home if I need to go up a set of stairs and I cannot go up upstairs because I'm in a wheelchair? That's a problem. They are disabled, and being disabled is a problem. You shouldn't ignore the disability. I don't know how many times I can say this. It's so obvious. Because to retire the art world grew later in the 70s, Benjamin said, as people with disabilities advocated for their right to participate fully in society and end the use of ableist language. Ableist language. I'm pretty sure they weren't calling it ableist language. I think this is new terminology. Nearly 40 years later, the Spread the Word to End the World campaign encouraged young people, in particular, to quit using this word to insult their peers. Yeah, but I'm not gonna accept your compelled speech or lack of free speech. Because that's also important. The federal government signaled its support to end the use of the R word with 2010's Rosa's Law, made for a young girl with Down syndrome, which updated all federal laws to use intellectual disability in place of mental retardation. So, if it's not in legal documents, it's a common word, so why shouldn't we use it, you absolute buffoon? Legislation stated that the term and its derivatives, including the R word, were used to demean and insult both persons with and without disabilities. Yes, that's how insults work. I think they're still important. Because you still need to call out people that are stupid. On purpose or not, but you still need to do it. Lower intelligence, bad. Wow, what a concept. Sophie Stern, a 22-year-old choreographer and actress from Arizona, has Down syndrome and is a member of the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council. For years, she's confronted classmates who've said the R word in front of her, and petitioned to have the word removed from a script. Was it directed to you, or are you being a snowflake? Because that's important. If they're calling you mean names because you're disabled, because you have Down syndrome, yeah, that's bad, okay? Sure. Maybe that's not virtuous. Should people be allowed to do so? Maybe. If they have rules against that here, should they be punished according to the rules? That's the end of it. But she's hearing the word more often now than she did in school, she told CNN. And it doesn't make her any less upset to hear it, even if it's not directed at her. It still hurts my feelings, she said. Okay, I'm gonna be extremely crass, right? Are we really gonna take advice from a retard? I mean, someone with Down syndrome? I was talking retard because of the author of this thing, but also this chick with Down syndrome. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so, right? Why it's coming back? It has to come back. There's a need to use it. Celebrities used to apologize when they were caught using the R word. Khloe and Kim Kardashian both issued statements when they used the slurring clip shared on Instagram in 2018. LeBron James apologized at least twice for letting the R word asleep in post-game interviews in 2010 and 2014. Author John Green said in 2015 that he shouldn't have used the word in his popular young adult, I suppose, novel, Paper Towns. Well, it makes sense given the context, which is that appears in a quote from a teenage character. The teenage character would say the word. I think you're just grasping at the straws here. Today, whether Silicon Valley tech bros or far-right figures, people use the R word online and appear to share motivation. The appeal of transgression, said Julie Ingersoll, a professor of religious studies at the University of North Florida. Many people use their word now it will anger people who disagree with them, Ingersoll said. It's a way of owning the libs, hell yeah. That's what happens when you have rebels. They don't like the established order. How do you break that? Stay in the word. Retard. If it's that easy to upset these people and you're a rebel, you do it. So easy. I think they're flaunting their ability to fend and confront, she said. Why do you need that word? If it bothers other people, why wouldn't you just pick a different word? Because that's the point, to bother other people. Content designed to provoke outrage is often more likely to court engagement. Most supporters and those who disagree, Penton said. Engagement guarantees visibility, and if the art world is more visible online, it will eventually become less jarring for users to counter, he said. Also, found some skiing, man, what the fuck? Oh no, these words are hurting me. You're a little bitch. And you will not survive the upcoming World War. Please are the currency in the commerce of social media, Benton said. If I put up content where the art word is prominently used, I can just guarantee there's going to be a few thousand replies. Platforms can end up rewarding controversial content that draws sustained attention, said Brandon Harris, an assistant professor at the University of Alabama. For studies corner content creators, especially those in the manosphere. Oh, not the manosphere. There's a bunch of gays there, come on. Andrew Tate, that guy is the psyop. Being controversial is more profitable than being kind to people, Harris told CNN. Yes, but people are also being controversial in a rightful way, because it's against censorship. Inconsistent guidelines and enforcement of what constitutes hate speech also makes it easier to get away with using hurtful terms, Harris said. Twitter and Spotify didn't respond to CNN's requests for comment on their hate speech guidelines, but then the platform allows attacking other users based on disability, among other characteristics. If you're not disabled and I called you a retard, I'm not attacking you on your disability. I'm comparing you to somebody that lacks the ability. It's not the same. It's not the same. Getting the violence to these rules is sometimes removed, demonetized, or made less visible. What companies have said? Twitter does allow users to post potentially inflammatory content and encourage users to block or unfollow other users whose content offends them. Yes, you control what you look at, you can just block them or mute them. It's that easy. Spokespeople from Meta on YouTube said their platform did not allow the R word to be used among a person's disability, but the word is not banned outright on either platform. Yes, because we're not calling retards to people with actual disabilities. We're calling retards to people that are really stupid, like journalists. Being a journalist is not a protected characteristic. Is it a disability? Well, interesting argument. Dictators using such language don't necessarily need to believe the things they say, Harris said. It doesn't matter when the outcome normalizes the casual use of a hurtful term. How the R word came to represent the movement. Please show respect. No, I'm not going to. And you know why? Because I don't have to. Since I don't have to, then I don't need to do it. I won't be compelled to that. Spiking online use of the R word would be harmful on its own. Oh. The words! They're so dangerous! They're so harmful! Please! Please, that the government! Kill them! Kill them all! Jail them! It's not allowed! I'm so upset! How can you be so weak and pathetic? Come on. But even more concerning is what this slur's return represents, Messenger said. These are never just about the words, she said. The words are standing in place for a whole symbol. What's happening now, where notable people are using their word in posts on Twitter on our podcasts, is a classic testing of the waters, Messenger said. When influential people who get paid to agitate see how far they can push the line, it's more easy than that. You're being extremely stupid, and people need to call you names. So, when the available names are not enough, you have to go with the unavailable names, the illegal terminology. Don't you worry, the FSLR is next. You're gonna be called a baguette soon. Dare I say, a freaky alien genotype. Ah! This community's come out to denigrate, to make a fun of, to demonize the most marginalized, she said. No, that's not the case. It's not the most marginalized. It's stupid people. It's weak people. Not because they're marginalized or they're disabled, but because they show you. The words are so dangerous! Please, help me! The art world will most certainly not be the last slur to emerge on popular platforms from popular users, Penton said. Unleash all of them! Unleash them! I will speak in wizard. I will learn all of the power words. I'm picking the mic. See, that's a power word right there. Thunder damage for you. Shatter. Bad spell. That's okay, I guess. On the lines continually pushed can take people to the worst spaces imaginable. Ah, that's you. You're pushing people, thanks to censorship. Good job. You made your bed. Congratulations. The term itself, the casual use of it, is a problem, he said. The normalization of it will allow even more problematic terms to be normalized. God, I hope so. I love to hate. Other hurtful words are already being used to harm other marginalized people, Harris pointed out. Republican Representative Nancy Mace earlier this year repeatedly used the anti-transgender slur. Also, I have to ask, even though in hushed tones, how did it become transgender? I don't remember it become when it was transsexual. What happened? I don't understand. See? Constant change in terminology. I hate that. It has never had committee hearing. CNN reached out to Mace about her use of the word. In response, her communications director said, "Why you tiptoe around hurting feelings? The congresswoman is standing up for women and girls." Wow. I cannot probably say that word either, so... Another one that's coming back. We're now using language that promotes cruelty, and not just cruelty, but casual cruelty. Hey, hold up now. What do you mean casual cruelty? There's nothing casual about this. This is gonna be competitive cruelty, okay? We're gonna have leagues. Gonna be the best, okay? Where you just offhandedly don't think about it and dismiss someone's humanity. I said of using slurs like those loud at trans people and people with disabilities. Look, acting like an actual human is not that difficult, so maybe it's actually on you. This homunculi keeps happening. See how the art world proliferates offline is the next threshold to cross, Benton said. Some people actually never stop probably using the art world. Yeah? Why do you think there is? Because they're not actually against the use of the word. They just get backlash because you people are so annoying and so unrelenting, he said. But if people who aren't protected by wealth, fame, or political affiliations use the word at the workplace or social settings, they could face punishing consequences. Oh no. For saying words. Many people are actively pushing back against the R-word when they encounter it. Nowadays, just the clear sign of somebody that's extremely gay and extremely annoying. Gay derogatory, not homosexual, obviously. Former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin. What year is this? 2012? Yes, a son with Down syndrome early this year called out Kanye West, Christian conservatives, and popular newbie conservative women for thinking it's hit trump up the use of the R-word. Well, that's a problem. You call them Christian, but they're not necessarily Christian nor conservative. They're just people. Please unfollow me. And I know that my disrespect for you is insurmountable, she wrote on Twitter in March. Just block them. It's that easy. The Brady Bunch star Maureen McCormick, who's also Special Olympics ambassador, said that Joe Rogan, celebrating the resurgence of the R-word, ignores the terrible hurt this blur causes people with disabilities. I think people with disabilities have bigger problems than a word that's not used at them, okay? There's another victory, she wrote on X, prompting more than 8,000 replies from supporters and detractors alike. It's a regression. Well, finally, it will be something good. Engaging with users who pass the R-word to court outreach and online engagement can cause well-meaning people to fall into the trap of rage bait, Benton, Harris and Masonry cautioned. But there must still be resistance against reintegrating the R-word into regular speech. Ah, but that's an R-word too. They said, a conversation most effective when it's out of line, person to person. Yeah, what a bunch of clowns. Have to continue to have courage to have these conversations and these moments of resistance to say, we don't appreciate what you're doing, we don't share your values. Yeah, that's the point. You don't share my values, so why would I care if you don't want me saying those words? It's not because of my values, it's because of yours. I don't care about your values, why should I follow them? You think that I should follow them, but I'm not gonna. That's the main issue here. Duffy Stern, the dance teacher from Arizona, has a word of guidance for anyone who wants to pick up the art word. Don't. See, now I'm gonna do it. Now I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna be a shit steerer. I'm gonna do it. You cannot stop me. You cannot ban me. You are not my real father. Anyway, oh man, it's getting kinda late actually. It's getting kinda late. Oh man. You cannot stop me. But finally, the art world is back. We can be readers together, okay? It's just banter at the end of the day. It's not such a big deal. They always make such a big deal because they're so annoying. Not to call them anything stronger, even though I think I should. So anyway, it's time for me to take my leave. So plan for next week, more background story, more Yakuza Kiwami 2, and I would like to do some demo stuff. I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna stream on Wednesday. We're gonna have Heatwave, it appears they're gonna be mid to high 30s, which would be impossible for me to stream more than probably an hour at that point. It's only gonna be low 30s apparently, so maybe I can actually stream on Wednesday. We'll see, we'll see. I will have my waiting room set up properly as it's the tradition. And I'm not quite sure what kind of demos I want to check. There's a bunch of stuff on Steam. There's new games and whatnot coming, so you know, we'll see what happens. Probably background story on Monday, probably Yakuza Kiwami on Thursday any day. Any day? Anyway. So yeah, it's time for me to take my leave now. After an extra long news day. So, thank you for coming, hope you had some fun. And I will see you all on Monday with more background story. Until then, you know the rules. Take care. And always slur.